for tuning in. Welcome to Guy Aitchison's Reinventing the Tattoo community, a place for tattooers, apprentices, collectors, and the curious to unite under all things art and tattoos. We encourage you to join in these live streams and real-world events where we offer a new option for connecting with each other to better your art, develop your skill set, and be with other like-minded artists. If you're new to our community, you can find us beaming out nearly every day. We've evolved into a quality network of amazing live and on-demand tattoo and art shows that are expanding all the time. Thank you to everyone joining us on YouTube or Facebook, and a special thanks to those of you who are listening to the podcast. Our event schedule and notifications can be found in our official Reinventing the Tattoo community. To get there, search for and download the Reinventing the Tattoo app that is found in both of your app stores, Apple and Google Play. You can also join directly at community.reinventingthetattoo.com. All of our network shows, art jams, drawing groups, interviews, panels, webinars can be enjoyed on demand and are stored in our library, as well as the YouTube and podcast channels. There you'll find countless tattoo and art rabbit holes, perfect for the front room of your studio or to entertain tattoo clients. In fact, we're beaming out 4 channels 24/7. If you go to reinventing247.com, you can see all of this and enter to win a goodie bag with samples from Cheyenne cartridges, raw pigments, and D-Lies Pro. We also have several weekly shows and drawing groups too. Every Sunday afternoon at 1 p.m., you can join Jason Lesser for his Reinventing drawing group. All skill levels are welcome. At 9 p.m. on Sundays, you can watch the Tattoo Weekly with myself, Gabe Ripley, and Jake Meeks of our affiliate By Your Side Tattoo. Every Monday evening, we have our evening canon class with subscribers led by Guy Aitchison. This month, we are focusing on anatomy. To join, subscribe to the canon at courses.reinventingthetattoo.com. Every Tuesday morning at 10 a.m., we have Ricardo Sturdivant for his Reinventing drawing group. Wednesdays at noon, you can find the Tattoo Now show hosted by Gabe Ripley. Every Thursday afternoon, you can find the Tattoo Collecting podcast hosted by Vaughn Baker and Jordan Rookus. And on Thursday mornings, subscribers are welcome to join Kier for skill levels that are focused on apprentices, fundamentals, and such. Now, there are several ways to support our show, and that is by checking out some of our upcoming pro development and on-demand shows. We've got stuff from Andre Malcolm, BJ Betts, Bob Tyrell, and others. Find all of this at courses.reinventingthetattoo.com. Of course, we mentioned this being a free community, and we want to say thank you to all of our sponsors for making that happen for us. We recommend checking out World Tattoo Events at worldtattooevents.com. They are the largest, most comprehensive resource for tattoo events worldwide. Lots of stuff is updating as conventions are rescheduling like crazy, so definitely remember to check them out. We also have Inkjet Stencils, found at inkjetstencils.com. Now, print stencils from your mobile or computer. Save your time, hands, and apprentices' hands. Webinars and free samples are located on their website. We've also got Raw Pigments, an ink company that is tapping into the source with acrylic-free pigments that have really been impressing artists across the globe. You can find out more about them at rawpigments.co. We also have D-Lies Pro, known internationally as Dermalize Pro. Protect your art. If you're using Saran Wrap, watch videos of tattooers to see what it's all about at dermalizepro.com. Also, thank you to Tattoo Now, which is tattoo technology for tattooers. And of course, the founder and inspiration behind Reinventing the Tattoo, Guy Aitchison. You can find his Biomech Encyclopedia, DVDs, machines, paintings, and more at guyaitchison.com. We also want to say thank you to our affiliate, By Your Side Tattoo Network, the Apprenticeship Diaries, and ecofriendlytattoosupplies.com. Now, I know it's cool seeing us on the screen, but there, of course, are real-world events that are upcoming at the end of this year. October 3rd to 6th, the Paradise BYOB in Jiminy Peak, Massachusetts will be webcasting shows live with tons of great content going on. As well as November 12th to 14th, you can find us in Belgium at the Brussels Tattoo Convention. Nick Baxter, Ivana, and Gabe will be doing seminars, theming in an art jam, and a subscriber-exclusive meetups, as well as general ones. Next May 20th to 22nd, you can find us in Hell City. July 8th to 10th, the Rock River Tattoo and Art Expo. There'll be a reinventing track, artist, amazing venue. It's easy to get to from anywhere in the world. July 29th to 31st, 2022, the Rubber City Tattoo Invitational will be back with Tony Urbanik in Akron, Ohio. Now, if you guys missed that Paradise Tattoo Gathering, don't worry. Next October 20th to 23rd, the Paradise Tattoo Gathering will be back. Now, we welcome positive reviews on our channels and would love for you to follow us. But if you would like to host a reinventing event or to sponsor our community, just send us an email to management@reinventingthetattoo.com. Now, I'm going to get out of here. I will be in the background reading off comments. I'll have my browser open to share inspirations and references. Let me know where you're beaming in from. Thanks to our growing crew of contributing artists, truly helping Reinventing reach more of the right people for the right reasons. Thank you for inspiring each other and everyone in our virtual Reinventing offices. All right, Fawn, how are you doing today? Looks like your setup is nice and bright. Getting ready for the Paradise BYOB to open up this weekend.
Yes, I'm actually really excited. So I've got Laura again. We're coming to you live from my living room. If Jordan's house is the mothership, I feel like this would be the time capsule. I feel like.
I like that.
Yeah. Like this technology in the middle of the room is the most high-tech area of my whole house. But anyways, so here we are. I actually asked Gabe to join us today so we could talk about the BYOB event. So I'll be headed out. I think Saturday I'm going to get on the road and spend all day driving and then come and hang out. Are you there, Gabe?
I am. I'm here in the background. I've got my camera, my computer that I could get to in about 5 or 10 minutes. But I'm happy to be ghosting the tattoo machine for a little.
Yeah, no, if you want, I can talk to Laura about our session yesterday. And then when you're ready, we can start talking about the Paradise event.
Cool. Awesome. I'll be sharing this around a little bit in the background too.
Nice. So what did we do yesterday?
Well, we did session number 7, I think, on my sleeve, on my Paradise, my Tropical Paradise Daydream.
We had a couple shorter sessions tucked in there too, but yeah.
We've gotten back to some decent length ones.
Yeah, all of yesterday, we worked like from your wrist all the way up to like armpit area. So we literally worked the stretch of the entire like back underside of her arm. So we also got to use a bandage that Lara's never gotten to experience. We used one of the handy dandy ADWs, one of the adherent dermal wraps. The brand that we have is Tattoo Shield, and it's from True Tubes, True Tattoo Supply. But it's just as good as like the Sanoderm and all of the others. But how do you feel about it? Because I've talked about the pros and cons, and like there are some sessions where it's appropriate and some sessions where I want the tattoo to be able to breathe and seep and weep. But so this is the first time we've used it on you. How do you like it?
I really like it. I feel like I do need a little extra protection in the first couple of days. And I have a puppy and she's mouthy, and so it's just, I feel very nice. I'm like encased, and
is it super swollen today, or did the swelling go down a lot while you were sleeping?
I mean, it is swollen. It's definitely swollen. I took Advil last night before bed. I haven't taken any yet today. It's definitely swollen, and the wrap feels tight, and I did bust out of it, like I told you, on my elbow.
Yeah, we're gonna stop at Red Tree after the show today, and I'm gonna help her rebandage her bandage. Yes, so we can keep it on for a few days.
It's awesome. I really do like it. I think it'll be a good way to just get through that first couple of days.
Good.
Yeah.
Good. I'm glad you like it. A lot of times because you had sessions where I've worked like all the way around the limb, but yesterday, just in particularly, I had you laying on your belly. So we were just working literally only on the back of the arm. So swelling, even though like your elbow, I knew was going to swell, but the rest of the arm, I wasn't real concerned with swelling like some of our other big sessions. So I felt like it was the perfect opportunity to
it's
give
cool.
you like a little break on the healing process.
Mhm.
Because now what we did in the past, we were using the tattoo armor pads, right?
Yeah.
Do you like those?
I did. I liked those too, because same thing with the puppy. I just felt like I was protected, but even without that, I mean, if you can take a couple of days off and just like be at home, because I don't think I really would want to be out and about with one of those big old things, strapped to me. But yeah, I did do one Zoom call, and I remember like I was keeping my arms down, and then at one point my arm came up, and I could see a couple of people in Zoom call like, oh, what's that on her arm? But no one asked.
One of the things that's nice is I'll like tell clients like I'm gonna wrap this up, and sometimes I haven't even taken pictures or taken pictures on their phones, and they'll be like, well, before we do it, could you? And it's like, oh, you'll be able to show it off, and then I'll do like the first step of like putting the like plastic part on where it's crunchy, and they're like, oh, this is not gonna be comfortable. It's like, hold on, there's more. And when I peel that other backing off, and you're left with such a super thin film, and then it's crystal clear, it's so you can still show your tattoo off, cool. and
you get these cool pockets of like human stew.
We call that the soup. It's like plasma and white blood cells, and of course the ink and stuff that weeps out and seeps out, but it's always like this funky clear orangish with like the whatever colors of the tattoo mixed in. So it's really like, stew's a good word. We have always called it the tattoo soup, but stew might be better.
Human cells.
Ugh, it's disgusting.
We're filthy creatures.
It's disgusting. But we had, I mean, I take decently long breaks when I work, but we only had like 3 breaks yesterday.
Yeah.
So we went from
powered through
till about 11. We were working. I was about to start another part, like on her, not the ditch, but this inner elbow. We're gonna put
a tapped out,
a little visual jewel right there, and I was like, well, we'll just jump onto this piece next and call it a night. And then like she was just so slow to move her arm off the armrest. I was
so sleepy,
and like I had my hands on you so I could feel how hot the area that, because I had just worked on her elbow. But I could feel how hot you were. And like with my hand on you, as you were just like slowly moving, I was like, oh, she's already totally defeated. And then I was like, or we can call it a night now. And Laura, without hesitation, was like, I'm cool with that.
Let's do that choice.
I'm down.
Let's do the choice where you stop hurting me.
You were just doing so good though. Like I know the elbow is brutal, but you did such a good job of just being still and letting me just like, you know how it is. It's just, when it's in a horrible spot, the better you sit, the quicker it's over with.
Exactly. And it will be quick. I mean, it's only a little spot. Yeah, it was fine. I stayed very comfortable throughout. It was a good, I feel like I'm doing better like before my tattoo appointments too, like just getting in the right headspace. And
that's part of it for me. I mean, even knowing what to do, sometimes you've got like life stresses and things like that are just going to be on your mind. I've had sessions like mid-project, I knew what to expect. I knew what I was getting myself into, but like my headspace was just, my mind was so busy on other things, and my mind was so busy trying to solve other problems. And you know how, when life just kind of comes at you kind of fast.
But
and
even
then,
if you just go in any kind of like a bad mood,
those are the worst sessions. Cause then you go from like having this good, like spiritual experience where you get to grow. I mean, maybe it's not spiritual for everybody, but for me it is totally. Because like you made the choice to sit there. You made the choice to trust this artist. Like you're voluntarily putting yourself through this. So there's that. There's the, I'm going through tremendous pain, but I chose to be here, and I know it's going to be worth it.
And you're ultimately in control. I mean, I'm sure you'd let me use a safe word if I needed to.
I mean, you don't even need a safe word. Right, you can just be like, I need to catch my breath. I need to stand up. I need to,
You always take breaks at the perfect time. Like, I feel like right when I'm getting like, okay, I can use a break. Then you're like, hey, how about we stretch and get some food? I'm like, yeah, that sounds amazing.
Yeah. And I mean, I do kind of tattoo like a monster in between the breaks. Like it's pretty constant, huh?
You have a very like,
I shouldn't say I tattoo. Like I'm not brutal. I'm not manhandling you, but it's just constant
empathy. You have a lot of empathy for the client because you're a collector too. And you've done those marathon sessions and when it's good to take breaks, and it's like, you have a good sense for that stuff.
Yeah, sometimes I can just feel it. Other times it's like, oh, we have reached my goal that I thought was practical and feasible for this length of time. And other times it's like, let me get to a good wrapping up spot. Cause like there are different tells to the body if you like as an artist, if you pay attention.
I feel
there
like
are
my
a
feet
lot
were
of
dancing
different
all
tells.
night, but I was just tippy tapping them. I don't think it was anything bad.
And part of that's kind of self-soothing.
Yeah.
When you're just
I
doing
think
like
it
those
was.
repetitive motions or like you were probably tapping like in the same motion that I was tattooing.
Or with the music. I don't even know.
I'll tattoo with the motion of the music, but like you get in that rhythm. And then once the artist and the collector, like once you reach that symbiotic relationship or that symbiotic rhythm, that's when I think the tattoo sessions just start to flow. Because like when my hands are on you and like sometimes like I'll get incredibly close with my clients while I'm tattooing them. Like there are times where like I'll be working on an upper arm. I'm sure I did this to you yesterday and I'll actually be like hugging the lower arm. Like I'll have your hand like in my rib cage, like elbow area. But in doing so, like, and like sometimes I'll even like rest my arm on your torso when I'm stretching skin, you know what I mean? But there's so much contact. There's so much like body to body contact between me and my client that like without even consciously thinking about it, I can feel how you're breathing. I can feel your pulse.
Did we already talk? Are you highly sensitive? Did we ever talk about that?
I feel like I'm pretty empathetic and intuitive to
people. There's a quiz you can take. It's like 33 things. I think you must be because you're very like tuned in. You know?
I just don't like hurting people. And so what do I do for a living? I torture people. I do things that some people would consider literal torture.
But it's such beautiful art. It's
I take people through the most painful experiences of some of their lives.
It's just like being flayed alive. It's not that bad.
It's not that bad. Sometimes like so searing flesh.
I literally by like a couple of days after I'm like, oh my gosh, if I just keep putting lotion on, it feels great. And look how beautiful it is. I mean, Fawn, seriously, you took this like, ordinary mom arm and made it into a work of art.
Well, you trusted me to do it. That's for me, that's the thing is like having the crazy idea that seems impossible and then trusting me to make it possible.
It's so fun when you start to really like more strategically pick your tattoo artist based on like vibe and connection and everything rather than like, oh, let's just, I mean, not that I'm saying anything bad about walk-in tattoos. I mean, those are fun too. There's a time and a place for everything, but I just love like really being more intentional about choosing my artists. Like,
I feel like when that happens, like when you choose and this can happen for small projects as well, but when you're choosing an artist that you like spiritually connect with, and then you end up spending entire days with this artist, like those days aren't all together, but like for any large project, let's just ballpark it. Any large project, you're going to be spending a week with your artist or client. You're going to spend a week together for any large project, give or take a few days. And if you spend that many hours with any human being, you're bound to get to know each other well. You're bound to start reading each other's body languages and you know what I mean? Like but then there's this other spiritual thing that begins to happen. And maybe it'll happen with smaller tattoos, but I think it's going to be a lot harder. But like where you get that true like shamanic connection, you know what I mean? Like I think it's really special that I get to walk people through some of these crazy experiences. Like, I know what it was like when I was going through my very most painful sessions, and I know what the struggles, and it was different struggles for my, let's say, top 3 most painful sessions, different struggles each session. But the artists that were still there with me and still had their hands on me and they continued to work on me. However, they cared for me and they checked in with me and they talked about their experiences that were similar to the experiences that I was going through. So it was one of those like, oh no, I know this is brutal, but I know you're growing. I know it'll be worth it. Like, just wait.
Yeah.
Like all these, and when you get to like, when you get to be the person that witnesses that change in another person, that's a pretty special thing. Like, I mean, I get to witness the physical transformation that I I help cause on other people.
Mm-hmm.
I get to, but in addition to that, I get to watch, let's say, for instance, I get to watch somebody's confidence grow.
Yeah.
Like now that I've covered a body part with whatever artwork they wanted, now that they're proud to show that off, other body image issues just fade away.
Yeah.
Isn't that funny how that happens? I mean, it happened with me in my
it just
collection.
Makes you love your body more, period. I mean, the more tattooed I get, the more I'm like, oh my God, like, yeah, it's just radical self-acceptance is easier when you're like covered in beautiful artwork. What can I say?
Radical self-acceptance. I like that. Well, that should be a movement.
I feel like it is, honestly. It's definitely a book.
It's like it's almost like I've talked to some collectors and they're like, me getting tattooed is taking power over my body and taking power over my situation. It's crazy to see, like, they're just pictures. They're just little pictures that we're putting on one another.
No,
but when you see all the energy that's attached to it, and like I was saying a minute ago, when you get to like over a period of weeks and months and years, you get to watch these people like maybe as a coach or as a cheerleader or, a very encouraging bystander. I get to watch people like have the confidence to try for this bigger job that they didn't think they were good enough for, or they have the confidence to like wear something to the beach that they never would have worn before, or they have the confidence to start a family, or like there are all of these things where like, and then there's the whole group of clients that their tattoos help them heal. And that was the deliberate intention sometimes, but not always.
I think that tattoos are very healing. I mean, I've always called it therapy, always. And that makes you my shrink.
I mean, I'll take it. Sometimes
it'd be like that.
I mean, it's cool that you got to bring your offspring to the festival Saturday, because a lot of times I'll hear about my clients' families and to actually be able to, I don't know, sometimes even seeing a picture doesn't do it, but when you get to meet that person and you get to like see that person smile and how they move, even if it's just a brief interaction, it's really nice, and it fills in a lot of the like the space in our stories.
The coolest kid in the universe too, so that doesn't hurt.
The coolest.
Yeah, they're just pretty cool. I might be a little bit biased.
It's funny because yesterday you were talking about what a butthole they were because they were 12.
They're definitely that too. Look, my kid and I used to say, like, when they were in 5th grade, like, oh, when you go to middle school, you're not going to turn into a jerk. All these kids that are perfectly nice in elementary school go to middle school, and then suddenly they start acting like total jerks. And teacher's like, yeah, I'm not going to do that, Mom. That's not cool. And then like literally 5 minutes into middle school, they like want nothing to do with me, like hide in their room the whole time. Like, it's such a cliche. Eric and I are like, we're cool. Like, we're cool parents. Like, we want to do cool things. We want to like,
I mean, starting off with festivals with your kid, that's a good solid start.
Well, and we've been going to night markets. Like, we got really into night markets. So it's like a farmer's market or a flea market, but at night, and they're just more fun. And sometimes they have like a little bit of an edge to them. And there's this one, the Mystic Market, shout out to Mystic Market in Columbus. It's like the 1st and 3rd Friday night. And it is like just freaky, tattooed, pierced people, like a lot of like just all kinds of people, like very diverse crowd, and very fun, and a lot of hippies, and it's just a good time. And there's like vended, people have booths and they're selling stuff, and it's fun.
We get to relaxing and we forget we have microphones.
Oh, hi.
Gabe, are you with us yet? I saw you pop on the screen a minute ago.
I am. Yep. Let me just one more share around, and then I am fully focused. Oh, it looks like I already did that.
Nice.
Cool. I was definitely identifying. I tell the stories about how when I was first kind of getting into tattoo collecting and getting in, hanging out at a tattoo shop. So a little bit more than collecting. I see all the other people like getting tattooed, and then they like puff up their chest and they feel tougher or feel prettier. And I'm like, dude, he's only skin deep. This is so superficial. Like, and then like, as this was going on for years, when I was getting, my hands, my neck tattooed, people would see me at the bars more and they'd keep talking to me and I'd be an asshole to them. And then I realized I was like, wait, if I keep being an asshole to everybody that talks to me about my tattoos, I'm just going to be an asshole all day. So like I had to start, and I was I'm like, okay, you know, I didn't know how to communicate at all at that point. That's where my mind was at. So then I realized that I have to become a nicer person so that when people are talking to me about the colorful birds on my neck, I'm not like, you know, fangs out telling them to get the fuck away from me. And then I was like, oh, wait a minute, you know, I think the tattoos helped me become like, you know, a better person. And I think that's what everybody else was experiencing too, that I was like, you know, kind of in my head ragging on them.
Right.
But you know, so really being in tune with the power of like positive tattooing, and that's why the experience is also so important. It's there's no question that there's a compounding positive effect that really can make people feel complete or conjure up what they want to have inside or outside. You know, they can conjure up those things, and that's why it's so high stakes, I suppose, right? Because and it is, like as you were saying before, there's like a therapeutic, or it could be, you know, and I think, you know, often the ancients people would probably, it would be shamanic, you know, in nature, because you are, again, you're either conjuring up something, you're identifying somebody, and that power, that energy actually exists until that person's dead. What was it? What did I hear? I heard it's guaranteed for life plus 6 months.
Life plus 6 months.
That's really cool. I once used a tattoo to manifest who is ultimately my husband now. Like I was single and I was like, I'm gonna, you know, totally manifest. And I like made this list and put it out into the universe. And while I was getting this tattoo, I like meditated on it. I totally manifested him. I tell him all the time, I'm like, I made you happen with my tattoo. I love doing rituals.
What's that movie with Sandra Bullock? Practical Magic?
Yeah.
Where they conjure up her dream man when she was like 7.
Yeah. Yeah. Basically. Hey, it works.
Awesome.
I don't know. When you say the word conjuring, it almost makes me be like, you know, I'm not into witchcraft, but at the same time, like
you're into
sometimes
magic, though. You're into like nature.
What's the definition of conjure?
Sometimes while I'm working, especially when I've got the freedom to work on something that's just like freehand and flowy, and the ideas can like build upon one another throughout the project. It's amazing that like it really does feel like I'm just a vessel. Like sometimes it's like my hands are moving and like I'm concentrating on like saturation and quality mark making, but that's all I'm concentrating on. Like everything just flows. Like the colors I choose, sometimes it's like, this is what I need now, this goes here, and I'm doing it so thoughtlessly. Like all I'm doing is just making sure I'm putting the mark into the skin right, where the picture comes from elsewhere. Like I'm
channeling the universe into my arm.
Yeah, that awesome. Happens a lot sometimes. I love that. And you know, like I'll have photo references, but I'll take like 3 or 4 photo references, and I'm still going to freehand and draw something that's a little bit different than all of them. And then once the background and light comes in, it's something totally different at that point. It's like, I don't know. Half the time I feel like I can't even take credit for what my hands just did. You know what I mean?
You get the credit. You definitely get the credit.
Well, thank you.
Because not everybody's hands can do that.
But like even yesterday, once you were like, nah, I'm cool to be done, I kind of like started looking up and down, and it was like, we really got a lot done today. Like, and as I was wrapping you, I was like, I didn't tattoo you here, right? Did I tattoo you here? But those days it doesn't feel like work. It's just like my body needs a break and my body needs to move around and limber up. But like outside of that, it doesn't feel like work. It just, all I've got to do is concentrate on making a good mark, and what is contained in that mark comes from somewhere else.
That's awesome. I love that.
Well, and you've been doing it for a while, wasn't it? You probably didn't. Well, was that always your process, or right from the beginning, or did it take you a while to get comfortable into that?
Once I had the epiphany that like I'm done listening to what I should or shouldn't do from all of these other artists around me that don't even know what my goals are. Once I had the epiphany that like I'm just going to tattoo like I paint, and I don't care what people say about it. As long as my clients are healing up well, I'm just going to tattoo like I paint. I'm just going to build the tattoos the way I would paint them. I'm going to build them in a way that makes sense to me as I would build a painting or a charcoal drawing. And once I just threw all the like, this is the right way to tattoo, and this is how you do this step first, and then this step first, and you can't tattoo dark after you've tattooed light, and like all of those weird rules that are really like you realize that we're putting the yellow into the skin, and then we're putting the other colors into the skin. So that stain's just on top, right? Like, you know that what's in the skin is really still that first color, right? No? Huh. I don't know. So for me,
when you paint and tattoo, are you doing multiple sessions? Like, should we do multiple layers on the painting, or is it must be a little different as you don't see all of your clients multiple times, or do you?
most right now.
Cool. Awesome.
The way my webpage and everything is set up, it's pretty specific on what I'm looking for. And that's like large projects only, full day sessions, like, and it's worded in such a way that I'm seeking out tattoos that are like my paintings. And then when we have consultations, we're looking at my paintings that are all over the studio. So,
and ultimately you tattoo it a couple, look up multiple sessions. It'll eventually look exactly the way you want it to. It's pretty fun. That's awesome.
Yep. What it's really like once I just threw the rules that everybody else was throwing at me out and just started approaching it like a painter, that's just when everything opened up for me.
Yeah. Now you had a fair amount of experience as a painter before that, or at least you knew what effect you were trying to achieve. So was your experimenting kind of, I mean, obviously you're always experimenting, but was like the bulk of your early experimenting already done, or
so
with art?
So I did go to art school. I don't have my degree yet, or I probably won't ever at this point. But so when I was in art school, I really, really concentrated on like the fundamentals and like the classics, oil painting, charcoal drawing. I took lithography. We talked about that a little bit last week. Cool. The things that kind of pull my trigger as an artist are like the most organic forms of art. If you can just hand me a pile of things that the earth built, and then I can put them with other things that the earth built, and then have cool art, maybe apply fire, maybe not, like those are the things that really kind of get me going. But I'm also into like just biology, and I'm into organic chemistry and just like how the world works. So in art school, my goal, like I wanted to be the person making these big bronze sculptures in the middle of Capitol buildings and things like that. Like I wanted to be one of those classic artists that people sought out, or I wanted to be like, in addition to that, I could have seen myself being an art restorer.
Oh yeah, cool.
I could still see myself getting into that. Like there are a lot of times I'll just like see somebody's painting and be like, I can help you tighten that real quick. And then I can also help you clean it. Like you got 7 minutes. And then I don't know, those just the old fashioned forms of art. And, when I talk about how I like organic forms of art, in hindsight, I think it's magic that I wound up tattooing, because not only am I making art, but I'm making art on something that's alive. So now my art has a lifespan, it has a life cycle, it's gonna see the sun, it's gonna see like wear and tear, if people are incredibly active, your tattoos show that. So that's one of those really magic things that, like, as much as I wanted to be in control and I wanted to like learn how to manipulate rock into things that rock wasn't supposed to be, like to know that I'm able to like transform people, and then the transformation keeps happening. Like just because I'm finished with the tattoo doesn't mean the tattoo's finished. Like it's still gonna go through phases. And when I see work that I've done 8 and 10 and 11 years ago, and I see how it's holding up, and I tend to like my tattoos more as they have age on them, just because, like, I don't know, they feel a little bit more sculptural. It's like big bold lines become, how like bold black lines just get softer and grayer over time. That, like, as the ink kind of like moves and migrates under the skin, old lines just look different than new lines, even if they're perfect. There's just I
remember Alec Cheryansky, the Russian guy, does all the illustrator, awesome tattoos. One of his clients saw him, 5 or 6 years after he had, gotten the tattoo, or they had gotten the tattoo. And they're like, hey, do you want to, do a touch up on it or give it another layer? And he looked at it, he's like, no, it looks fucking great to me, and it did look great, So, the goal isn't to make a tattoo look exactly as it does, like fresh off that picture. The goal is to make it look like a tattoo healed, in somebody's skin for a long period of time. It's fun to see the artist whose personal style or artistic style and sensibilities kind of mesh in with the rules, not the rules, but like within the limitations of the skin. And you can see when people are trying things out and maybe pushing things a little too far, maybe, or maybe to the point where it doesn't make a difference, 5-10 years later.
Right.
But it's fun. Like tattoos are great, obviously.
Tattoos are great.
Tattoos are great.
I agree, Gabe. I agree on that point.
But, yeah. I don't remember the last time I got tattooed. I guess it must have been a session with a guy or something.
So about this, well, I keep wanting to say this weekend because usually tattoo events are on the weekend.
It's a week start technically.
So this
Sunday to
coming
Wednesday.
week start.
Hey, we've never been normal.
Tell me what I'm getting myself into, Gabe.
Okay, well, it's a BYOB. So
bring your own brains.
To bring your own brains, for the most part, brushes, right? Beats if you're a musician. You can't really bring your own booze because they have a bar there, at the resort. But I guess in your own room or whatever. Anyways, point being, it's bring your own brains. And the reason why it's somewhat ambiguous or weird is because we are still, hopefully we're not like in the middle of a pandemic, but we're not like through the pandemic, right? So when I guess I first set the dates maybe 6 or 8 months ago, we were thinking that we could maybe fit like 100 people in the room and, masked up. And so that's kind of when we started it. And to that point, I was like, well, we can't tattoo. We could do art retreaty things, but who the fuck knows what we're actually going to be able to do? What I know is that if I have to just go there by myself and hang out by the fire, drink, have fun, then that's what would end up happening. And so what we've gotten into, come to, let's see, 5 or 6 months ago, Jake Meeks from the Fireside Tattoo Network, caught wind of what was going on and wanted to be part of it and to, kind of step in and try out kind of a co-producing partnerish role, and which has been awesome and a tremendous help. And his team, he's got a great team, and he's obviously well versed in videos and teaching. So they'll be teaching a seminar, and so with his help, we do have a full stage schedule for 4 days. There's it's not quite as packed as our usual events are because we tried to be, this is the first event back after a couple of years. But on the other hand, the stage pretty much has something pretty awesome going on at any given time. And then there is one seminar room that always has, each day there's 2 or 3 things going. And then I think Monday and Tuesday, maybe we actually have 3 seminars going at some times. So it's going to be kind of a mix of an art retreat or we'll have all of the seminars, a la carte like we do at the tattoo gathering. There'll be people set up to paint. There'll be a lot of people beaming in, so as you can imagine, as the closer we get, there's a fair amount of people like, I ain't getting on an airplane, or there's pandemic. So, but the beautiful part is we're already used to beaming people in and out. So, somebody like Mike DeVries or whatever, who had to shift his seminar over to virtual, it was actually okay because, we have the screen, we have him there. We have, I have the full text set up for the hybrid thing going on, right? So we'll be able to beam out the audio of the Zoom calls really loud, and then the sound is mixed right to go into it's basically full on hybrid meetings, like a real professional, the corporate setups where, it's all wired right. But in this case, again, we'll be interacting with some of the teachers, but we'll have people there. There's a couple shops coming out. There's people that have weekend passes that are coming out. There's people registering for the seminars and stuff.
Nice. Good.
But anyways, so just to wrap it up real quick, we are officially doing it both virtually and in person. There are some.
This isn't a commercial. You don't have to wrap anything up real quick.
I'm not wrapping anything up.
You can.
Well, I was just going to say the virtual stuff is pretty cool, so people can beam in. And my joke is that you have the freedom to choose your dose of paradise your way, virtual or in person.
I like it.
But
I like it.
that's all I want to say.
I'm stoked.
About
this is going to be the first event that, we've attended a couple of shows, but this will be the first one that I've actually come and like set up equipment, and I'll be prepared to like grab people up and just talk to them on the random, either about the work that they do or the work that they wear or both. So
Awesome.
I'm really excited. That's one of the things that I've been excited about since like the birth of this show a year ago was like just
Covering
literally
shows.
like walking through the floor of a show that's just filled with collectors and like
Well,
everybody knowing what's going on and like being ready to talk to me and being ready to share their stories and experiences. I feel like once I do it at a couple of shows and people realize, you know, what I'm up to and like what I want to hear, like I want to inform the collector. I don't need to know anything technical about tattooing. I don't need to know what needles you're using. I don't know. I don't need to know any of that whatsoever, because collectors don't need to know any of that.
Right.
It's not, you don't ask your mechanic what, like, so you use a socket on that or a crescent?
We don't need to know how the sausage is made.
Sure.
There we go.
Well, and there's a lot of people that are already talking about all that stuff, you know, and there's people that are doing it, you know, there's people that learned on YouTube repeating the shit that they, technically, or, that they heard on YouTube, as well as, people like I, or there's a lot of people that are covering, the technical stuff, both at a high quality level and just at a, if I can look at it for free level. To have education for tattoo collectors is, for one, there's not as much out there, which is kind of sad because there's way more collectors than there are tattooers, and the tattooers want the collectors to understand tattooing more. And just I'm sure everyone that's coming through for our experiences, the more that a client can educate themselves ahead of time, the less mistakes they make, the less lasering they have to go through, the less less time they're looking at an artist going like, I really think you should laser. I don't want to laser. Well, I don't know.
It might be
then we can compromise on the cover up. And then 5 years later, you're like, you laser this. And they're like, 2 layers. Looks like you already covered it up once. So I'm excited, and it is. It'll be fun. There's a fair amount of podcasters and video people coming out, which is great. On Tuesday, we'll be doing like a podcaster's paradise, and Jake approved it. I came up with a cheesy name, but we'll be basically do like an hour where we talk. About a little bit about equipment, a little bit of about processes, a little bit about software, kind of geared towards helping ourselves out a little bit, but also really towards helping the tattooers and the other artists know how to become better guests, right? So how they can have a little bit of a setup, how they can get a microphone, so that.
Well, and then also once you start understanding this, like I could take my whole setup and I can put it in my room while I'm working. Like I can put it in my studio space, and then I could get really good quality video. Like if I had a client who was like not in pain enough that they could sit and like, switch the cameras around, like I could set up really nice and it's just one of those, like, now that I have the equipment, now that I'm starting to develop a workflow, it makes it possible to do so many more things. So I'm excited to come out and just kind of see your workflow, how you do different things. I'd love to talk with Jake and see how he does different things. Derb and I have been talking about video editing for the last few months. We just need to get some time to sit down together and have him go through and just kind of show me some of the shortcuts.
Premiere, and is he using Premiere or Final Cut or somewhere in between? Who knows?
You'll find out.
You will.
I'll learn.
That's a whole nother rabbit hole, right? Because there's almost like 2 sets of editing that I found in my experience.
This device right here that we're staring at, this thing is not cheap, but I will be able to do anything and everything with it. So
awesome. Inevitably you edit things down to first take out like the ums and the ahs, and then maybe like zoom in and zoom out a little bit, and then you're like, wow. If I just do this, if I just keep doing this and become a little more intentional, we can make like documentaries and stuff.
Yeah.
And then it's like, how many hours that takes? A lot of hours.
So I feel like I've got the knack for like getting good cinematic views and angles. There's so many videos that Derb has where it's like, it looks like it was filmed with a gimbal, but it was really just me flying in super close up with my iPhone.
Cool.
So there's a lot of cool stuff like that. Like there, some of the skill set I have, but sitting down and editing in a way that it's not going to take me 7 or 8 or 9 hours to edit a 45-second video. Like
No, it's
I just need
usually
a
like
reasonable workflow.
I don't know, it's like triple or quadruple. I think it depends. Everyone's got different averages depending on what the goal is. But yeah, for a 45-second video, you'll be able to hammer through that shit in fucking 10-15 minutes.
Yeah.
I've been doing some pretty cool ones for the BYOB. And I'm really psyched. Robert Hernandez is beaming in to do an interview with Tony Rommel.
Excellent.
So
Nice.
I've been actually I could screen share one of the videos I made for them. I'm pretty psyched.
If you screen share, I'm gonna grab another cup of coffee.
Yeah, go for it.
Yeah.
Would you like a can of pineapple juice?
No, I'm good. Thank you. Wow, you're fancy.
Okay, artists, Tattoo Society. I've been rallying against the social medias for a couple of years now because
really?
I'm a search engine guy. I like the search engines more than social media
Yeah,
because the search engines deliver for long periods of time and social media chews you up and spits you out.
this is
But,
very true.
Then I've been making these stories and I'm like, yes.
Nice.
Can you see this?
Yeah, that looks great.
And then because we can use the and like inside of the Instagram, we could use the Vapors of Morphine, the band that's playing the show. They're doing like an album release show. And oh no, that's crazy. I'm like, okay. And all of a sudden I'm like, my phone says, do you want to spend another 15 minutes on Instagram? I'm like, yes. Need more time on Instagram. I need to make more stories. And then I'm like, literally like, holy shit, this is exactly what they want, is for you to like be catering all this stuff. Now I could reuse these videos, in other places. There's YouTube shorts that we've been starting to use, which is really cool. And we could put them on the websites. It did motivate me. So now on the Tattoo Now websites, I do websites for tattooers. You could upload videos to go along with your tattoos. So I'm pretty psyched. But so I am now. And sponsors really like the social media visibility too.
Mm-hmm.
So in the last 3 months, I've been like, okay, fine. I'm going to figure out how to do the, all the fun stuff with the social medias. Again, always tying it back to content that sits on the website or on, through an email list on shit that we own. Like, I don't want to send people to the social medias, but we'll be using the social medias to send people back to our properties. And yeah, so let me find some of these other. So that's Robert. He's beaming in, and then after that, we have a couple of activities that are in Spanish. So there's Tony's going to be doing some interviews with, I think it's 4 South American tattoo convention promoters on Tuesday, and so that'll be fun. Bruno's doing Hablamos del Arte. My pronunciation is horrible in English, never mind Spanish. But so he'll be
your
doing
pronunciation.
My pronunciation, exactly.
Nice.
He'll be.
I like it.
He'll be going around like showing off what people are working on, and then doing bilingual webcasting for it.
Thanks.
And that Tuesday, so let's see. So also that Tuesday night is on the stage after the podcasters talk, Guy will be beaming in, and then Hunter Spanks will be there in person, and they're going to do like a dual interview talking about traditional tattoos and bio tattoos and kind of the crossovers. And it's pretty fun. Hunter's a real traditional tattooer, 25 years, I think, walk-ins right in the Baltimore Tattoo Museum. But when he was posting up some of his work, he had some bio stuff in there, and it was fun to remember, back in the day, like when you were doing walk-ins, that included doing bio, right? So like anybody that came in and wanted to buy, like if Guy or somebody saw one of Guy's pieces, they could look at some of his flash, they'd bring it in, and then that was part of a walk-in traditional repertoire of styles to do. Anyway, so they're going to be doing like a dual interview, and I think we're going to swap artwork back and forth and encourage more collaborations. As you know, Guy is always encouraging people to collaborate. So if people see this before Tuesday, before October 5th, then find yourself a collaboration partner. Ideally, if it's a style that, well, whatever, just find a collaboration party. If it's a clashing style, that's cool. But And then if you throw it on in the background, do some collab work, and people can zoom in. So after about an hour and a half of them interviewing each other, we'll open up the Zoom calls to people that are participating virtually. So
Nice. One of the things we talk about a lot on here is how much I love collaborative tattoos and collaborative artwork. Even like a lot of my glass collection is collaborative, where, one artist worked this part, the other artist worked this part, and then maybe somebody else even cold worked some of it.
yeah,
It's like even more special than like that occasional strike of lightning. It's like you've got multiple like amounts of special coming together that can't be replicated again. Like there's just so many special ingredients from each artist, and then you get something that can't be replicated,
So to that point, I imagine on Sunday we'll be setting up some deliberate collaborations, but as well as kind of like a couple spaces with walk-up kind of materials for everybody to kind of freely collaborate.
Nice.
Jason and Lisa and Ricardo and Kier and probably Bruno, like a lot of the Reinventing crew will have a full corner, and they're bringing a lot of materials specifically for people to collaborate.
Nice.
Hoping, I don't know, like the digital part is the only one I'm not quite sure we have fully down, but like, again, I think that we'll have like oils. I think we'll have acrylics, charcoal. Cool. And then if we have a projector set up, we can have people plug in their projectors, email pictures around and stuff.
For years, I've always been on the, the art fusion experiment that they have on the Hill City stage every year.
Awesome.
That's been my jam for a really long time. I love getting in like with a group of people. Like it's nice working with other artists that are well-rounded and work in similar styles that I do, or we at least speak each other's language. But it's really fun to get up there with a group of artists that might not be as experienced, and then to watch everybody's ideas like developing slowly, and then being like, all right, somebody's got to put black in these. Here we go. And just like start like just putting black in the backgrounds and like really giving them like the meat that it would take for the other artist to like see their idea through. Nice. So it was always fun for me to like look at what another artist is doing, catch the ball, and then just run it 30 yards and be like, okay, you take it now. Like, it's really nice to just like do that middle chunk of somebody's idea, just like helping them bring it to life and being like, okay, now that it's 60%, bring it the rest of the way. And it's cool because then you get a piece of all of us into that, whatever the art fusion project is.
Yeah, those are always fun to watch. It seems like, it looks like Tony from Inkadu in Pittsburgh is, he says, hi, everybody. He says he's beaming in.
Nice. Welcome, man.
Maybe it means he's beaming in on Tuesday with an art collaboration party. I know he does a lot of bio stuff, and I'm sure he's got some trad people to work with there too.
Nice.
But
nice.
That's fun. Yeah. Let me. I'm gonna. I got another video here. This is a video from Thea Duskin. These are all like, they usually have like the horizontal videos, but oh wait, you know what? I'm gonna try to share. I'm gonna try it special and try to share the video at a low level so that you can hear what she has in there, but it's not overpowering our talk. Okay, there we go. So she's doing mixed media and collage, and she's then basically talking about, doing a lot of the work kind of organically, right? So letting the mediums kind of take over just a little bit to move stuff around, and kind of to talk about the differences, between doing it in the iPads. Obviously, a lot of people are in the iPads these days and doing a lot of this work, but so she talks about bringing in mixed media, doing it kind of naturally, and then taking that result into the iPads and working on it digitally to produce the end results with the tattoos. But that's cool. She's I really dig her style. She just recently tattooed my daughter,
nice.
Which was cool. Yeah.
Fantastic.
Wow. She's always a great conversation too. So as far as having her on for like podcasts and stuff, she's great.
It's
like,
so
this
funny.
is a 5-minute video. We don't need to watch 5 minutes.
I have definitely taken, like, let's say I'm at like the underpainting phase of something, or maybe I'm 2 or 3 layers in, but it's nowhere near completed. But like for whatever I need it for, it's complete enough. But I'll take a nice high res picture of it, and then I'll start manipulating it and like smoothing things out with Procreate. and then throw text over it and turn, like last time I designed business cards for myself, that's how it started. I took an oil painting that I was working on and I was like, you know what, I really kind of like where that's headed, but like I also don't feel like I need to spend any more time on it. So instead of spending what would have been like 30 hours completing this painting, I could just take a high-res photo, go into Procreate, do a few manipulations, throw a filter on it, add a few glows to things, and it was like a half hour later, I had what I needed over it. Like if I didn't have that like 5 or 6 hour oil painting to start with, it wouldn't have been a 30-second digital painting.
Right. Yeah. I love the one of my favorite things just in general is the mix between the digital world and the real world. And so people that are just kind of, but then there's people that just do everything digitally, that it's like,
while we're talking about digital art, there's this little company called Tattoo Smart. I don't know if you can see that from there.
What was his new, the cyber fluidics that Brad Wooten's working on with him?
Oh man, those are such cool brushes and patterns. Love them.
Okay, I love doing these things. I'm gonna fire that up real quick just because so we did do a YouTube Brad.
You know, I'm analog all day long, but I do love having all the digital tricks in my bag, so to speak. Just so it's a time saver. Like my tattoo itself is organic. My paintings themselves are organic. But if I use these digital medias to hasten the process, that's just using every tool at my disposal.
Yeah.
You know, like I think it's valuable to be versed in both. And then if we start talking about collaborative projects again, it's so much easier to bounce digital art from one person to the next. Or like if I am doing an oil painting, I could then shoot somebody, 1,000 DPI photo of that painting, and then they could come in and they can do things digitally on their end. And we have both.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is a demo that Brad did. This is for the first Fluidics set. I know that Tattoo Smart has another one set up, but I figure I'll blast out the Reinventing stream here.
When we had Russ on a few months ago, he was showing us some of this brush set, and I feel like Jordan's mind was just blown. I've been watching the development of this, so like I knew what some of the things that Russ was going to show us, but boom.
So cool. I like Brad. I appreciate
So this is a really quick tool to come up with the design, but no matter what, you can't and there's a lot of debate about this. Is design work ruining tattooing? It's a tool. It's a tool to come up with rad designs, but nothing's going to replace the act of being able to make those marks correctly in the skin.
Yeah. Well,
you know what I mean?
That and like you can give me those tools and guarantee this shit ain't going to look that cool that quickly, Like he's making the tools and setting them up because there's people with artistic eyes that are able to like put that shit right on people. Whereas if, certainly it makes designing, a lot of those Tattoo Smart tools will make designing, it'll expedite the design if people want to just, kind of do it quickly, but it'll help people that take that and then run with it. To your point, you don't have to necessarily spend 9 hours, recreating something. If you could find reference that gets you halfway there, on the other hand, there's also no shortcuts, and if you don't like spend your time with art to kind of understand what you're shortcutting, then you just end up copying shit that doesn't make sense, and the lighting's off or the shading's off or what, the volumes aren't right, or you're using Brad's tools to make something that doesn't flow right with the body as opposed to something that looks really cool and flows right.
I have a lot of I know when I draw flowers, they're kind of exaggerated in my own way, and they always are. Like anytime I look at, I can tell if I used a stencil or if I freehanded a flower. Like there are just distinctive things that I do, and I can't tell you what they are, but I can see them. But it is one of my pet peeves when I see people doing floral tattoos or wearing flower tattoos, but you can tell that they don't understand the anatomy of the flower that they're drawing, or the shading. It's like, that's not how flower petals look though.
Right.
So sure. I guess for instance, one thing that I is distinctive in my flowers is I always make sure that at least a few of the petals actually curl all the way around. And we've got a little bit of that like motion that looks like it's growing or opening.
Actually doing its thing. Yeah, sure.
Yeah. Because flowers, they're not still, they're not stagnant. You know what I mean? They're not like a silk plastic thing. They're always like slowly moving and slowly turning to the light. Like there's a part of the cycle that they're always in.
In my case, the leaves are turning yellow and burnt tips at the end because not getting either enough water or too much water. I love the internet. The internet,
or it's just the end of the season and they've exhausted all of their chlorophyll.
Now I'll buy that one for now. 2 months ago, I'm like, I don't know. And I'm looking on the internet. Why is my shit looking weird? And then it's like, well, either you put too many nutrients or not enough nutrients. Either you watered it too much or you didn't give it enough water.
So not helpful.
They're like, you should know your plants. I'm like, I just met the plants.
We just met. We're not acquainted. I think my plant feels violated.
It is pretty fun. That is another project that I've got working with with a grower, with a farmer guy. And at some point we're going to be able to go full tilt on that. I think I told you about the 1,000 joints of light benefit I want to do.
1,000 joints of light.
1,000 joints of light. Yeah, the name came from another friend of mine, but I want to get a zoom, eventually, at first I wanted to do what do you call it? A flash mob with 1,000 joints. So $10.
I'm already in.
So it's $10 for the benefit, right? We're going to get 1,000 people to smoke joints together. $10,000 goes to the benefit, and we could promote 1,000 joints of light. That sounds like a lot of fun. I did register the domain name. Actually, the artwork exists. I just need to collect a little bit of dough to have the artists get compensated for the art, and then we're almost good to go. But I was hoping to get it done for this weekend or for this week's start, excuse me. But I don't think I think I have to focus on the tattoo and the art stuff and not the growing network, unfortunately.
It's okay. While I'm with you at next week start,
in 2 days and 22 hours of it.
Yes. While I am with you, I would love to talk about that kind of stuff as well.
Yeah, absolutely. There should be another, again, that's why it was BYOB, not bring your own, anything else. Cause there's a couple of lots of smart people coming with a couple of different topics in mind. But is this
how about bongs? Can I bring my own bongs?
You can definitely bring your own bongs. Although what happens in like that is don't tell the promoter, that kind of gig, right? Yeah, they did tell me to take I had bring your own buds on the promotion, and they were like, you should take that off because technically it's not legal. And I'm like, I will take that right off. Thank you very much. We've never had a problem in the past. We will have no problems in the future.
I intended to ask you what the laws were.
So it's not New York. This is like a private resort, but there's what happens in the wild of the mountains is it's a ski resort, so that's what I have to say.
Discretion and manners, right?
Exactly.
That's normal, right?
Yeah,
discretion and manners. I mean, I'm totally open about it, but I still got manners.
It's mostly. In the past, it's never been a problem, and I have to say, I think it's kind of always doubled as a place where people would discuss their farms and such, and. But the vapors of morphine, they're pretty cannabis. Anyway, the whole thing's gonna be good. Anyway, okay, so let's see. So we've got let me run down the schedule here, I guess, while I'm here. Fuck it. Who's beaming in? So let's see. So we've got guys beaming in. So he's doing an exercise on Monday night at 9 p.m. Right after the band. So the band's doing 7 to 8:30, and we got a half hour to move the screens down, and guy will be leading an exercise in contrast and flow, I believe. So he's doing a series of 4 to 6 lessons in a row, all based and building up on similar themes. So for the Reinventing the Tattoo subscribers, the next, like I said, the next run is going to be about both. He wants to really teach them both at the same time because he's got the 2 chapters that are separate, I think. He talks about it way better than I do. Anyways, so he's beaming in Monday night. Mike DeVries is going to be beaming in and doing an advanced 3D tattoo design. Actually, this day 2, I need to take off because he actually just had a new baby, so he's not getting on the airplane and flying out. Thea's doing both in person and virtual. Like I said, the mixed media. Jake Meeks is doing his seminars. Jesse Smith, bam, he's got a pretty popular Calm Before the Chaos. Mark from Needle Jig is going to be talking tattoo needles. I want him to be like history through the eyes of the needle.
Mhm.
But
he's a wealth of knowledge. I've actually gotten to spend time. You know how I like to just kind of follow Derb around when I have the chance and like be his shadow or like carry things or whatever. We were at a show, maybe it was the Cleveland convention a few years ago, but to hear Mark and Derb just casually talking like the history of needles and they're just like chopping it up. And I'm just listening to them just chop it up
cool.
as they're like, can you believe how far it's come? Can you believe this? Can you believe that? And it's just really neat to have those like accidental, not only history lessons, but like the lessons on the mechanics of the art that I make. Like if it wasn't for, people like Mark and Derb sitting around years ago, learning how to solder needles together and how to make those needle configurations better and more consistent, from one needle to the next. Like there's so much that goes in. And like even the needle jigs, even the jig that you made the needle with, like the tool that you used to make the tool makes a difference in the final product.
Absolutely.
Sorry to interrupt you, but
no, that's not
Mark's just a really cool wealth of like, just by standing around him, you'll learn. He's a really cool just to listen to speak.
Yeah, I'm really psyched. I work up there a day a week as a freelancer, helping him with some videos. And to your point, it's great. And I've known him, and he's known of like Paradise from the very beginning. And it is awesome to be able to help him facilitate his thing. So I help him with videos. Actually, thank you, Mark. This is a Thursday. Usually I'm up there today, but we just did a video. He interviewed Kate Hellenbrandt, Shanghai Kate.
Oh, nice. And I had no idea what her last name was. I've only ever heard her called Shanghai Kate.
No, Shanghai Kate Hellenbrandt. It was amazing stories too, as you can imagine. And getting kidnapped in Mexico and but anyways, I do have one of his videos fired up here. I'm going to show it off just because.
Yeah, show it off.
Like I said, it's usually this is what I would be doing on today, and actually it's relevant. This is a video. We're not going to watch the whole thing, but because it's 20 minutes long, we're definitely not watching the whole thing. But it's about convention tips and tricks and stuff, which is pretty cool.
I love going to tattoo conventions.
What we need to do is we need to put a tips and tricks for collectors video together.
Yeah.
Have like just a solid 10 or 15 minutes. You want to help me do something like that?
Sure.
Do some like bonus material?
Yeah.
That would be great. Okay, we're going to work on that, Gabe.
Did you ever see the Get the Perfect Tattoo?
I don't think so.
Let me, first I'm going to fire up Mark, and then we could fire up the Get the Perfect Tattoo. I wrote that with Baxter, and I feel embarrassed that I forgot her name, but it has been like 15, 20 years. But okay, let me fire this up here in desktop 2. Wait, let me just make sure I got the sound on. Yeah, I got sound on.
Tattoo conventions are coming back. Would you like some tips, tricks, professional insights, and downloadable checklists to help you with your next shows? Stay tuned.
Okay.
Conventions over the last decade. There are many tricks and tips just to kind of keep yourself on game, keep yourself ahead and organized as well. I have had a very organized system for years based off of state and city of every single client that I have throughout the country. So if I'm going to an area, I can pull either West Coast, Mid, or East Coast, depending on north and south, and devise my clients or organize my clients so they can all meet me at that one hub that I'm going to.
I'll skip through here a little bit, but so basically, it's got a couple tips from
in
I think 4 different artists.
The tattoo artists, they don't really hang out together. They kind of like, I think they're afraid of each other, and so the benefit of going to a show and meeting people from all over and having the opportunities to travel to their city and learn some tips from them or show them some things, to create some artwork and build a relationship. I think those are the things that long outlive the things that we do as artists.
My husband and I kind of created a really good business plan for traveling, and that is customer service once again. I've been to so many conventions, you know, like we do 20 shows a year. Like I've been to so many conventions where you can walk around and like people are walking around, you know, mulling over portfolios or available designs or whatever. And like the person sitting at the booth doesn't say anything to them. And then they just walk away. It's like, why, you know, if you're not going to greet your customers, like these people are here to give you money. Like
the secret to that is presentation. Like nice banners, nice setup on your table. Like we do tablecloths, like custom tablecloths and stuff like that. But the main thing is having
cash. One of the most productive, one of the most people you meet on this trip, you may tattoo on the next trip. You just never know what's going to happen. So just don't let the money thing get in the way, because as soon as your attitude goes sour, you're guaranteed not to make money. I really can't stress it enough. Point. You allow yourself to get run down by not making money very quickly, it's going to show, and it's going to work against you in ways you just can't even imagine. So smile, motherfuckers! Get that cash! One of the most productive things you can do at tattoo convention.
That
awesome
was pretty
advice.
Enthusiastic.
That's awesome advice.
Yeah, a lot of those were like, I know you were just kind of jumping through quickly, but all of that was excellent advice so far.
You know, it was 20 minutes, the video. And the other thing that I'll show it off here again, because it's, you know, anybody that's catching it, or at least any of the tattooers, he's got a full checklist of Google Docs. Check this out. Actually, I'm going to be psyched to show this off.
By the way, Gabe, thanks for taking the time to join us today.
Oh, no worries at all. Thanks for.
It was kind of like a last minute, as I was like headed home from the studio last night, I was like, oh man, I should have asked Gabe if he wants to come on and talk about the Paradise event. And
yeah, well, that's
I just went ahead and messaged you anyways.
Yeah, no, thank you. I should have probably been reaching out to. She's probably been doing this for the last 2 weeks.
It's one of those things, like we knew it was, we've all known it was coming up, but like all of a sudden it's like, oh, that's like now. All right.
Shit is fucking crazy too. It's like I'm in a position where I'm like, I want a lot of people to show up, but not too many people to show up. Like, you know, watch it in person or watch it virtually, but I need to connect all the stuff before I'm sure that I could go in person. Wait a minute, I'm one person. I mean, I do have a lot of help. Like I said, you know, people are helping, of course, but here on the ground, you know, I used to have a full team and now it's just me. So anyways, okay, so check this out. This is a spreadsheet or a PDF that you could find off the Needle Jig site. It's linked off of that Tattoo Convention Tips. Do a search for like Needle Jig Tattoo Convention Tips. But you could print this out. It's double-sided. And yeah, you put out the name of the event dates, the event address. You know, you check off when you know you've gotten the stuff done here, create an image and description for event prep. You know, order your promotional swag. Are you doing a seminar? If so, email the information to the convention promoter. Otherwise, you just check it off. This over here is a budget, huh? How about this? So you could like put in your estimated how much you think you might make in tattoos or merchandise or seminar fees. You know, maybe some might be zero, might not be. You know, other fancy ways to make income. You know, then your expenses. You know, boom, 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 boom. I do have a computer version of this where you plug in the numbers. It does all the calculations and stuff. But and then the other side, so you can print it out two-sided if you have a two-sided printer, or print out one side and then put it in your printer and put it the other side. And then you can fold it. It's
Sorry,
pretty awesome.
my dog's vocal today.
Oh, good.
Okay.
But yeah, and then here we've got tattoo machines, coil parts. You know, you can basically print it out and then fill it out, check it all off.
Lolo, enough.
It's right there.
Stop.
And so that was my latest release with Mark and the Needle Jig. But like I said, since then he's gotten some really awesome interviews. One with Kate, and I'm editing that up. And but yeah, so he'll be there, and he's got two different talks. One is his Let's Talk Tattoo, and then the other one will be he's doing like a full seminar, to your point, about like the history of needles, history of tattoos from his point of view. And he was one of the first people to make either curve mags or round mags. He always yells at me for using the, you know, he had his term, and then like the other one kind of took over I don't know if it took over, but anyways, point being is
a filibert shaped needle.
Exactly. Yes. There you go.
He was the first to come up with the filibert needle. So I have to tell you something. Back when I first started hanging out,
I'm not making that claim. I'm not sure that he's making that claim, but I know that he was one of the very first.
It's okay. We won't hold anybody to anything here.
He's the only person that ever thought of it. No.
we're sharing the best knowledge that we have. If anybody would like to fact check us, we will appreciate it.
Yeah.
But anyways,
Absolutely.
so back when I was working as a graphic designer, the tattoo shop that I was hanging out at in the little town that I grew up in, as I was like watching him work, I'm like, so you've just got mags, they're the flat ones, and then you've got liners, right? And he's like, yep. I was like,
So sorry, who's this?
Just a tattooer and
Okay.
a local guy.
Yeah, cool.
And I was like, that's so weird. Like if I made needles, I'd want like a filibert shaped needle because that's like what I paint with. And that's seems like that would make sense for smoother, softer black and gray. And I was like, do you know what a filibert paintbrush is? Like, and I show him, I'm like, it's flat but round. And he's like, yeah, they don't make needles like that. And I was like,
It should.
A couple years later, lo and behold, everybody started carrying round mags, curved mags, which I think every brand has their own label. Yeah.
It was fun. Like the dark side guys, like when I first got into the tattooing, they were like, I don't know what they were doing with their flat mags, but they were like, I don't know, figuring out some ways to like try to get that color blending, around the weirdness of the flats on the edges or whatever. And then I'm sure at one point they switched over. Probably it was right around that same time, but it's kind of crazy how, at points there were limitations of, or maybe not limitations. You had to have workarounds because of the tools. And now these days, a lot of that stuff is,
now there are so many options.
Already. Yeah.
That like when I'm working like the True Tubes booth and people are coming up asking for things, I always like, if it's something off the wall, I'll be like, what kind of work do you do? And then once I see what kind of work they're doing, then I'll make a recommendation. Cause I think so many people try different things where like, I'll see people using bug pins and they'll get discouraged because we don't have a certain bug pin size. And I was like, wait a second, like what kind of work that are you doing?
What effect are you producing? Yeah.
And then when I'll like talk to them about what the different needles are and how they're made, even though I've never been a needle maker, once I start talking about the different like diameter of a bug pin needle versus like a standard taper needle, and how much ink goes in with every penetration of the skin, it's really cool to watch an artist's like watch the light bulb go off. And now they understand the difference between the needles and, my color will stay more saturated if I use the right needle instead of somebody told me to use a bug pin because it did less damage to the skin. It's like, it's doing less damage, but it's putting less ink in as well.
Sure.
So I don't know. We've all got our own opinions, but
well, that's no, absolutely. Well, that's the fun part about, kind of about like the discussion that Mark will have in particular. He's got all his diagrams and his infographics together, and and again, everything's kind of open for, he's down for discussing. He loves to talk stuff. He likes to talk shop and technical stuff. And
he's very easy to understand. Like some people start talking technical things and it's immediately over the layperson's head, but he's using like he's using language that anybody that's worked in the tattoo industry is going to understand. You just got to be around him and you learn.
I mean, yes, I'm trying to figure out a funny way to make a joke about the simplicity of the language, but to your point, it's like actually very difficult to be able to use simple language that people actually understand, especially when you're talking about technical stuff. But I guess I could just make fun of his age. I'll try to make fun of his age instead of, and I'm not making fun of his age, only because we're so close. Well, maybe not that close. Okay, so other people that are showing up are, Lars, the tattoo anthropologist, is... let me share his stuff. He's fucking awesome. We have another panel that's an anthropology panel also, or a historical panel that's got a whole series of amazing people.
I hope someday an anthropologist is talking about me. Like, what was she thinking? Why would she? What did these marks mean? Was she even from this planet?
Yeah, he's got a couple of books. Yeah, they talk about all the indigenous, tattoos, and they got all the mummies going on. And
look at that
it's
noggin.
They're all they're full on lectures. This is it's one of the things that I love about working with academics is that they know how to present. They're not they're not worried about it, and And they know how to take an hour and, go through and impart the right knowledge. And also, when you start asking questions, they're good on their feet, which is pretty cool. But so he's got a full set of books, and he'll be beaming in. He's on a Sunday. Let's see, Nick Mitchell. He's obviously his caricatures are pretty out of control. Yeah. I'm gonna turn that down just so we could see the pretty pictures here. He doesn't actually hate anybody. That's just an artistic thing. But let's see some of his tattoos and stuff. There's a pretty cool interview that I did with him. I've been interviewing people more, which is fun. But yeah, look at that. So he's I guess it's only 720. He was a caricature artist, at a Six Flags, or at an amusement park. Him and Sean Gardner, I believe, works at a Helheim. And then he was setting up basically the zombie caricatures at different tattoo conventions also, right? So from there, the tattoo world kind of sucked him right in. And he ended up at Jesse Smith's at Loose Screw. So obviously Jesse, knows how to both create stuff, in this vein, but also render it out on skin so they're he's killing it down there in Richmond. And he makes for good interviews. He knows how to talk. And look at these tattoos; they're out of control.
Oh yeah, the color's great there.
Oh, little birdies. Freddy dog. Yeah, crazy. What else we got? Fawn Baker for the 4 to 4:30 networking meeting. I wonder what happens 20 minutes after 4. But let's see. Then we've got happy hours. I was like, oh my goodness, why don't we not do happy hours?
Nice.
So Tony will probably be beaming in for the happy hour. I think he's taking it virtual. Okay, so here's a cool little event. We're going to be beaming in to the Outer Limits Virtual Museum. And so Carrie Barba's got a full tattoo museum there at Outer Limits in Long Beach. And Jenny was her last apprentice. I hate to call her an apprentice because she's now an she's a tattooer. She's a professional tattooer. Outer Limits Jenny Tattoo History Museum. I still can't spell museum. But I'm gonna put on. This is fun. If you don't mind me just taking over and screenshotting all this shit.
No, this is great. This is so helpful because I didn't know. I truthfully, Gabe, didn't know what I was getting myself into this weekend. When we were texting about it, I was like, "I'm game for whatever. Sign me up."
I don't think anybody does. Again, part of it was almost into. Is this screen share going crazy now?
No, it looks good.
Oh, it does. Okay, I'm just not seeing what's going on here.
It's okay.
So you're currently looking at the tour?
It's paused right now.
Yeah, that's because I'm fucking all over the place trying to get my shit together.
It's okay. Take your time, Gabe. Take your time.
I'll take my time. So this was fun. So I'm sad that I missed the Golden State this year, but it was last year or the year before that I was able to get out there and here we go. Now it's playing again.
I think next year, if all goes as planned and the world continues opening up, I would like to arrange my life so that I can probably maybe tattoo like maybe the middle days of every week and then be on the road every weekend, hitting as many shows as I can for the podcast. I really just, there are just so many I haven't been to, and like, how each show kind of has its own crowd, or each like circuit of shows has their own crowd. I definitely would like to get to know a lot of the West Coast tattooers better, because like I am just like starstruck by so many California artists. And it's like, oh, hey.
Hell yeah.
Oh, yeah, I awesome. Do that thing too, but you're better.
It's fun that the West Coast, and it is rich with history. I'm down. I'm good with like a show every 4 to 6 weeks, or travel every 4 to 6 weeks at this point for me. But yeah, well, okay. So what we'll be doing, this is, as you're seeing here, this is like I edited up a little video film with a tour, but we'll do an interactive tour on Sunday. So we'll do an hour or so where we're beaming in with them and Jenny. If anybody has any questions or has any particular questions about any particular stories, Jenny is a tremendous wealth of information about the history here. And then at the end of the tour, we will start drawing up traditional tattoos. So there's two of the tattooers from Outer Limits that are into the traditional style. We'll be beaming in with them, and everyone gets to draw out some flash designs. And come on, that's a cool picture.
Cool. I have watched this, but I didn't realize you edited it and everything.
Oh yeah. I think Rob helped with. Would drive around and help me out there, but I did like the filming and the editing, and I do. I definitely. I do a lot of like one man, for better or worse these days, videos for people. I got a real cool one from Bucharest. I did the Bucharest convention.
Nice.
Okay.
Show us.
Well,
Yeah.
Costi was awesome.
He says. Derb introduced me to Costi at the last Hell City Phoenix, I believe. It could have been Columbus, but one of the Hell Cities he came over for, and he's super cool.
He's great. Absolutely. Agreed wholeheartedly. Here we go. And he had some really awesome the field trip through Transylvania. I mean, fucking field trip through Transylvania. They don't really need to say anything more than that was fucking amazing. Okay, let's just let this load up here. But this was like 2 or 3 years ago, the 10th anniversary one. Robert Hernandez was there. It was good to see. Okay, here we go. Oh man, sure. It is always embarrassing and funny to see yourself on camera here. Share sound. I guess I'll turn up the sound so that we could hear it for a little bit, and then we could talk over it. Welcome to the 10th Annual Bucharest Tattoo Convention, put on by Costi of Next Level Tattoos and managed by Maria and an amazing crew of people who are really putting on an inspirational event. It's been amazing meeting tattooers from all around the world who are coming to experience this. Costi has been making friends for a hell of a long time, so pretty much everyone you talk to here is, a great person and as well as talented or has an eye for quality. Romania is a beautiful country, as you can tell from all the castle footage and some of the amazing scenery that's out here. And the city of Bucharest is a mix of old Europe architecture and Soviet style kind of architecture. And the venue is really unique. An old European ballroom is just does so much for the energy. Every single tattooer, as you walk through the floor, is doing world-class art. They're pushing it, and they really care. I met a tattooer yesterday on Thursday. He took a look at one of the websites that has lots of tattoo events, and there was 10 of them going on that he could get to. But between the world-class lineup, Robert Hernandez, Bob Tyrell, Barbara Sharzen, between all of the amazing tattooers here, he knew this was going to be the place that he was going to this weekend. Turn this down a little bit. I will.
Okay, so we're going to head
flash forward
and start
to
interviewing some of these amazing tattooers. Behind the camera, and then ask them questions, and we'll do this a little bit kind of discussion panel style. So yeah, you both answer and discuss amongst yourselves. For sure. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Doing the stuff outdoors is fun.
I'm from Poland. For now, I'm working in my own studio, Black Pearl Tattoo. You can find me on the Instagram like Joanna Faferko. So it's the easiest way. I used to travel a lot, and I started with my own studio 5 years ago, and here I'm first time, so later I'm gonna say a little bit more about this.
My name is Alex, and I'm from Moldova.
This guy's so sick.
And
she's sick too.
I work in Holland in my own shop, which I opened this year, so it's pretty new. You can find me on Instagram like Eddie Pancho, so yeah, you can check my profile.
So the first question is going to be an easy one. What do you love about tattooing?
We'll watch it a little bit because I want to see the tattoos.
So for me, tattooing it's kind of freedom. For me, it's really hard work. It's not like easy work. So I come to job and I do only what I love because I taking responsibility for this what I do. But also I can make something what it's kind of my passion. I can grow up like an artist, I can develop, but also travel, meet a lot of new people. And also I really, really love how many things I can make, how I can change during the weeks and months. And this is really, really hard work, but interesting and giving me like a lot of good energy inside.
Yeah, for me, tattooing also is like a passion. So you always learn something new. You never can be sure what's gonna happen tomorrow. So that's what I like. These emotions make us feel like complete, in harmony with ourselves.
He's so fucking great. Oh, here we go. This is Costi here.
Oh, yeah, last night I slept like a stone.
We did it in a graveyard.
Love it.
Okay, let's do it.
Thank you so much for taking the time, Costi. I know it's been a long weekend, but it was amazing.
Finally, after 2 days after the show, we can discuss a bit.
Yeah, with a little, maybe, hopefully a clear head. Like I said, it was an amazing show, and I talked to dozens of artists, and they all had an amazing time, and great things to say about you to bring them to Bucharest and to Romania.
I'm glad this edition it was good, everybody was happy, and have a good review.
That guy's sick too, Bullet.
Convention, everybody is super excited about it.
Awesome. Okay. Now, what motivates? So voila, it's I'm not super embarrassed to show it off because sometimes I'm like, oh my god, I fucking literally did like every job in it. So I need to have more than like 400 people watch it.
That's really cool. I'd be proud of it too.
Yeah. But I can't wait to get back over there at some point. We almost did a show in a fucking castle over there, but yeah, it's not easy doing crazy shows in faraway places. But Costi's amazing. So anybody, they should get over there. They should see him, and Romania is great.
One of my favorite stories that I hear Derb tell, it involves a pork chop, but it's from Dracula's Castle, one of the Dracula's Castle trips. I don't know if it actually happened in Dracula's Castle or if it was another Romanian area, but pork chop. It was a floor pork chop even.
Nice.
Watch out for
those. I mean,
he eats some of the grossest things. I'll just leave it at that.
Boy.
Does Derb eat anything?
Yeah, Derb will eat anything.
Awesome.
This is disgusting.
How was that? You guys did the outdoor freakathon or crazy show.
Abe, let me tell you
good.
about this. So the way things were coming together, we were all a little skeptic that things were going to like come to fruition and it was going to be great. We were all like, I don't know, because it wasn't something that any of us organized. So we're all just like watching it come together. I'm like,
sure,
this is not the right order of operations, but I have a little bit of faith. Long story short, it was incredible. It was a great weekend. Well, it was just one day. Next year, it's going to be a 2-day show. It went so well that there's a big event here in Columbus that goes on every year called Trauma, and it's like all kinds of performances. Like it's a fetish ball with all kinds of performances and bands, and so it's official that there's going to be a huge circus tent in the same area. So it'll be a heated circus tent with this awesome event going on. Yeah. So our first event went off so well that Derb immediately committed to another event going on.
Yeah.
So
fuck yeah, man. It's like he has a venue.
Yeah, we're trying really hard to turn the area that we're in, like it's the next area that's about to be renovated in Columbus. So right now it seems like a sketchy neighborhood, but it's really just all industrial. But like over the next 8 years, it's going to be all new developments and new high rises, and just like the old area that the previous Red Tree was in.
I mean, so
we're trying really hard to like turn that area into like the new arts district. Like we're just kind of like taking the lead and turning it into the new arts district in Columbus.
Isn't that kind of fun? I mean, it's amazing that there's almost no question. I mean, there's a question because nature can be fucking freaky for sure, but there's almost no question that with Derb and you and the crew, you can change that. You will.
The building now, it's kind of a bright red beacon, and then we've got murals all over one side. So we've got people that stop all the time just to take pictures of their motorcycles and stuff in front of our murals, or they'll take I'll be scrolling on Instagram and I'll see people that I don't even know that are just strangers that stop to like take selfies in front of our wall. So it's really cool. And then like once we got our building complete or close enough to complete after we took it over, the other businesses on the same road, not that they were necessarily like run down and shabby looking, but they all like painted to match. So
Yeah,
we're red and
cool.
black. And then all the other buildings on the street are like red, gray.
Like Buckeye colors, yeah.
Yeah. But like everybody matches. And like like all it took is just one business to start like making taking pride, basically one business to start taking pride. And now the entire block followed our lead. And they were all super down for us to like use their lots to park in and things like that. So like the whole community was on board. And since this first event went really well and there weren't any messes or anything left, everybody was really cool. Like I walked one of the parking areas and there was like minimal trash. So so I think we'll only be able to do bigger events. I don't know that necessarily we'll be able to do any like live tattooing events because we don't, we've got a ton of outdoor space, but
it's outdoors. But
our indoor space, it's funny. We actually like locked the studio up, and like those of us that worked there were like kind of like standing guard of like who could go into the areas and not, just because we've got so much original art.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Yeah. Like we have, numerous Marty Holcomb originals. Let's just say that first.
And we'll definitely make sure that any viewers know that half of them are booby trapped. So
all of them are booby trapped.
All of them, I guess. Okay. Yeah.
But it's one of those things where like when we have an art related event, we know that everybody coming kind of knows the art etiquette and knows that like these are real paintings. Don't touch them. Like
but if you get a festival action going on, people are drunk and stumbling around, and
people that don't know people that don't know art etiquette maybe literally don't even know that you don't touch or lean on artwork. You know what I mean?
Yep.
So unfortunately for non-tattoo related events, I think the studio will always stay locked up. But when we're doing tattoo and art related events, and like, I know we've got a reinventing event.
Yeah, I was going to say, we're going to be there soon enough. I got to, as soon as I get past the BYOB, I can get back with Durb and be like, let's fucking get Durb and Guy and solidify up those details. That's going to be another fun one. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm going to make sure that I'm available that whole time too. So
cool.
We'll be able to
we'll do 2 days. Like the first day will be geared towards like collectors and people and artists. And then the second day will be professional development focused. Yep. And that both days are obviously focused on learning and inspiration and whatnot. But I think we shouldn't talk about too much because we got to get the details. But that's February. There's dates for that somewhere. February.
It's in the Aether. It's out there. Yeah. It's after the new year.
It's after the New Year's, yes. But Durb's awesome. He's already trying to, he was already looking for details and stuff. And I'm pretty excited. I want to make sure he gets everything that he needs because, it's a great spot to be able to do stuff.
We're really fortunate to have such a nice space. Laura came to the event Saturday, and isn't it amazing to see like how quickly the whole space transforms? And then, the team that put everything on was awesome. And then the Red True Supply team are so good that it was like by Monday it was right back to normal.
When I saw the pictures of like the outdoor festival, I'm like, it's an outdoor. I imagine, if there there's a festival grounds somewhere in his potential future, it's like that place is already too small for him.
I don't know. More land, more liability,
more problems, more money, no, absolutely. I'm also for these days now, clearly way more for
all we got to do
growing
is
something in the health of it.
We just got to keep making friends with all the businesses around us so that we can share parking. And then if they know the events work in the neighborhood, that'll encourage them to have events.
And their massive lawns. There you go. I like that. Yeah. Cool.
Yep.
Fuck yeah. Awesome.
It was rad.
Yeah.
So it makes us all really excited for more events at our space.
Yeah, it was really cool to watch from afar. Like watching the footage, and Durb's always been well, and everyone's really good at putting the coverage up on the on the computers. Yeah.
Durb has like a whole crew that helps him with all the social media. Like that man does spend more time than he should on social media, but he's kind of hooked on TikTok right now. I don't know if you've noticed.
I have,
but he's got a team that helps him stay up on all the social media, and they're awesome. They've got we've had Brian Midkiff on the show. Brian?
Oh yeah, sure.
Giant Beatles tattoo. Brian.
Yeah.
I think he runs the Hell City Instagram. I think he curates that, like Derb does also, but I think he's mainly curating that. And then Jasmine mainly curates the True Tubes, True Tattoo Supply Instagram. So, and then Jules does a lot of the Red Tree stuff and Hell City stuff. So, you know, he spends a lot of time on it, and he's very interactive with it, but he also has people helping. So it's not like
he's not
it's
like
a whole
one
team.
Superman hero that's on it 24 hours a day. It's cool.
Just like I say this all the time, but just like with everything else that Derb does, he has found, like, over time, he has found the right people to delegate the right responsibilities to.
Yeah, that's awesome.
So I noticed that a lot of the people around Derb, even if he's not there, one of the things that people say is, how would Derb want it done? Or this is how I think Derb would want it done. Or, you know, so it's really nice that we're all kind of detail oriented, but it's very detail oriented in like how would Derb want it, you know. And I worked retail before I tattooed, so there's a lot of, like, you know how there's a psychology to like marketing, you know what I mean?
Sure, of course.
So being that I worked retail and I was kind of like climbing that food chain before I tattooed, I see the psychology in it. And if you enjoy the psychology of sales, then it makes it not a chore. It makes it kind of fun to know, like, the right colors to use to catch people's eyes, the right wording to use to catch people's eyes. How do you make an ad look professional, period? How do you make an ad not look like an ad at all?
Sure. Yeah.
So, like, you know, different strategies, but you know.
Oh, it's fun. I mean, the beauty of, I mean, really with tattooing too, is like, you can do it however you want to, you know. It's like the you can tattoo anybody in any segment, in any demographic that you like. You really get to kind of narrow in and focus on doing things the way that you want to, your way. It's very enabling. It's very exciting about that. That's one of the things I love about it. But should we plug a couple more artists? Or
sure, yeah, let's plug away.
Let's see.
I feel like I wasn't sure what all we were going to talk about today. I thought Laura and I were going to go crazy talking about how much I beat her up yesterday, but this is great. I love, you know, how much I love talking about other artists, and, like, you know, there are so many styles and genres that you can't, like, I am exposed to brand new artists all the time. So I love that feature of this time together, is just sharing new things that we find.
Do you must be aware of Christian Perez?
Oh yes.
Yeah, he's the next guy that I'm gonna fire up here, and I got a bunch of his. What's this? Oh, is this a whole trailer? Oh yeah, okay. I could just do this. Sound off. Screen share. His seminar at BYOB is going to be very well attended, optimized for video clip. He'll be doing painting a skull with oils, both virtually and in person. There's a supply list that's on the computer, but yeah, we did a full interview. Oh, I guess my camera broke when I went down there, so I do have a good hour interview with him that I'm editing. But you can see here, obviously, like, yeah, his oil paintings are just something else here. He went to the Illustrators Masters class a couple times, where you know, with it's like kind of like an art retreat or a tattoo gathering, but it's all professional illustrators doing the teaching. So it's like people from Lucasfilms and Magic the Gathering card illustrators. And so he's definitely got some awesome training from some really serious people. Dan Dos Santos is somebody that he works with sometimes, or gets good critiques from and is friends with. And point being is he you know, not only knows how to render this stuff, but he's taken enough instruction that he knows how to impart it also.
One of the things that I've always loved about his work in particular is the way that, like, I mean, it's evident in looking at these, but he plays with such either extreme or such limited like color schemes, but it's always believable. It's always tangible. Like, you believe it's hot or you believe it's cool. some of my favorite tricks with artwork is like when you look at it, you imagine you could feel it, you know?
Like this guy, it's like, I mean, just see. Okay, there we go. We're flipping through these pretty quick, but or I'm not in control of how we're flipping through these, I guess. He's cool. He's got a couple of good podcasts out there too. I think Chet Zar, he's got a great podcast with Chet that he did recently. He can get pretty far out, which is fun. What else we got? Vapors of Morphine. So the band's gonna be playing on Monday night. They've got the new record, Vapors of Morphine, Fear and Fantasies on iTunes and stuff. It is worth playing very loud. It's like a saxophone, bass guitar guy from New Orleans and a drummer. It's a 3-piece, fucking out of control.
Vapors of Morphine.
I've not heard them. I'll have to check them out.
Yeah, in the 90s, it was a band, Morphine, that the saxophone player was part of, which was, I mean, they're huge. They're international. When they play over in like Russia and shit, they get fucking tons of people.
That makes the Vapors of Morphine make sense, though.
Yeah.
And hence the Vapors of Morphine, yeah.
Plus, do you really need more than a vapor? I mean,
let's see. We got some watercolor seminars also. This is Hunter Spanks. So this is straight up traditional watercolor flash designs. I believe he's on Tuesday. And this is kind of, this is what the digital page looks like. So you can get all of this stuff virtually. But yeah, so here, I was saying here's like some of his bio work. So he'll be doing a collaborative art piece with Guy on Tuesday night after his class.
Nice.
And yeah, so people are invited to join that. But yeah, the live webinar is October 5th, 12 to 2:30. All this stuff is on the on the schedule here on Paradise BYOB. Oh, Haley Adams, she does the sorry. So the plein air workshop with Renee Little. She's we're getting our iPhones wired up appropriately so that we can do a webinar out in the nature. And she'll be doing plein air. So the plein air workshop. And so this will be both in person and virtually. We've got so this is Tuesday is both Spanish Day and Watercolor Day. But also Haley Adams is doing space rendering, so how to render outer space tattoos and drawing. So there's people that are signing up to focus on this kind of stuff, which is cool. She'll also be doing some podcasting. Like I said, she usually does once a month live in the Castro. All sorts of LGBTQ plus cool people. Hablo de Arte, so we're doing the Spanish stuff, apprentice advice. So Amy Nichols from the Apprenticeship Diaries and Kier from Reinventing will be doing a whole round of advice in a program for apprentices. Let's see, and then I guess yes, this last day here. I guess the big thing I talked about most of this other. Two things here to talk about. One would.
Oh no, you leaned forward. I can't hear you. Cut out.
Houston.
Oh, my microphone's off.
Boom, you got it.
I'm on my backup mic now. But then Sunday, the two things I think that I haven't maybe talked about are, well, like I said, the academic panel is going to be out of control. That's going to be probably one of the most comprehensive ones that exist, just because all of the professors are and book authors and stuff. There's going to be like 4 to 5 of them on there. And then the closing panel here is going to be like career critiques. Is my screen not sharing anymore?
No, you're not screen sharing.
Whatever. So we have a panel of tattoo shop owners that would be doing interviews for either guest spots or for residents, like including people like Jesse and a couple others. And so
I'm really excited. I wish when I was setting up my studio, when I was setting up my first studio, and then when I was setting up my second studio, I wish I would have had like ready resources to be like, here's what to do and what not to do. And, like if I guess like one thing I do when I'm talking to other tattooers is like, first of all, what are your goals? Like, don't even start a project until you know what your goals are, because you got to have like something to work towards, you know. Like I definitely jumped in the deep end, and I started my first studio, and I knew like I definitely wanted to get it open as quick as possible, but I knew that was just the start. I knew I was going to continue building and things were going to change and, you know, things like that. So but like having that goal first. And then if I could have had people around me to tell me how to get to those goals, like the most smoothly.
Oh yeah. I mean, it's amazing watching the effects of, again, well, and you are doing a great job of helping impart knowledge, and, you know, but yeah, it's crazy it exists. And so with this panel, it's like, it's awesome not only for like the artists, you know, so maybe we'll be able to get like four to six artists in advance to kind of go through a grilling, kind of like Shark Tank style. So they get interviewed by three people at once. Maybe we bring in a ringer from or another ringer from somewhere online, and but then also the other shop owners in the audience get to hear how some of their role models might interview somebody for a potential job. And I am sure that there's going to be questions that are asked that people are like, oh my God, I'm going to ask that in my interviews from here on out. And then other artists, you know, that aren't getting grilled are going to be like, oh man, I'm glad they're getting grilled, but now I know kind of what responses are good responses, what responses might not be some good responses. And, you know, so kind of taking the, you know, portfolio critiques are awesome. Jesse's going to be doing some professional portfolio critiques. You know, but this will be like, you know, a little bit of a portfolio critique for sure. We want to see your work, but a lot of it will be, you know, what are you about? How do you promote yourself? You know, what kind of responsibilities, or how do you contribute to a shop environment? And that could change, right? Because some shops there's no right or wrong way. Some shops are rentals. Some shops are independent contractors. Some shops are full-on employees with health benefits and vacation, right? So the artists want to also find the best fit of a shop for them. You know, and if a shop is like, well, I don't know, we kind of run people as independent contractors, but like, who knows whether, you know, you could tell if people are kind of running in a gray area or not. And that might be great for some tattooers who want to run in a gray area, but not for others who want to have everything, you know, tight enough to, you know, be able to like buy houses and shit. Or again, you know, with Jesse, for instance, his shop, I think he's got like paid vacation. I don't want to like pitch something that doesn't exist, but, you know, I think he's got like paid vacation, health benefits, and the whole 9 yards.
There are pros and cons to either way to do it. Like some shops, I know Russ recently changed Ink and Dagger over, like it's like a legitimate business now, and they have set hours, and I think they always have, but they've got like health benefits, they've got, you know, retirement that they can buy into, I believe, and you know, all of those things that like as independent contractors we don't have. Whereas at Red Tree, it's the extreme opposite end of the spectrum, but it's really cool to see how both are perfectly functional and both are constantly driving and moving forward. The magic is, do you have people that are driven with the same goals? You know what I mean? Like at Red Tree, we've got so much freedom that we can work 7 days a week, or we can work not, you know what I mean? Like we could work 1 day a month if we so choose. Like we've got so much freedom, and on top of that freedom, we're actually encouraged, like travel, do the things, gain knowledge, gain experiences. So like we don't even need to ask for time off because we've got so much
full-on
freedom.
Rental, right? Is a rental? Is that the agreement? I don't care about the business. I'm just wondering if.
Yeah.
Perfect.
But it's nice to see that there's not necessarily a right or wrong. You've just got to do what works right for your team and what your visions are to see your team grow. You know, when I set my business up, my goal was to keep everything as simple as possible because I wanted to be able to run it, whether it was just on my shoulders or whether I had a whole team. So, but that's just having the goals going in. You know, if you have the goal and you have a vision going in, then you can strategize for that vision. So that's why when people ask me for advice on how they should run their business or how they should set up their own, like, you know, LLC or DBA or whatever they choose, I try not to give advice. Sometimes I'll say, this is what I did, but you've got to understand what my goals are. My goals are not very money oriented. My goals are like, I just want to be able to travel when I want to travel. I want to be able to collect art when I want to collect art. Like, you know, my goals aren't buying houses or expensive cars or things like that. Like my goals are just like keep
Yeah.
growing as an artist. So when money's second, I've just learned that the money always comes. It's always there, you know, like the money's always there. So I just try not to even put any energy into thinking about that. So I didn't set my business up in a way that like it's literally just a DBA. It's like,
No,
you know, it's
it's fun.
super
I do
duper simple.
a fair amount of consulting, you know, at least once or twice a month. You know, I'll be working with a tattoo shop or a supply company that, you know, for like a couple of days, a day or two, just kind of, you know, I've got a couple stress tests and obviously, you know, a fair amount of experience in how to both build and, you know, and how to lose shit. Right. So, and likewise now how to protect it. It is really awesome to see how different people will do it differently. And the real goal for me often is just clarity and making sure that you know what you're doing exists in the context of your locals, you know, your local laws, right?
Yep. My strategy was just to keep everything as simple as possible. Keep it simple, stupid. If you just kind of keep that in the back of your mind, it makes it really easy to. But that again, that's me and my goals are totally different than a lot of other people's. So.
Sure. But to your point, like the sooner you can kind of clarify that, then both you as an artist, you could find a spot that's in alignment with it, or as a shop owner, you could start attracting people that are in alignment with it. And, you know, one of the things that was always stressful for shops is, you know, 10 years in, shifting that culture, you know, and some, like we had to do it, you know, at my old shop because the state, you know, in Massachusetts sued us. You know, twice, you know, while we appealed, and, you know, it took a lot of dough and a lot of lawyers got paid for us to finally settle on what was actually legal in Massachusetts, right? So the way that we were doing it wasn't legal. So you know, some states will have different technical laws, but again, the main goal is like as a shop or as a tattooer that's an independent contractor, just understand and know what is actually legal in your state, and then fulfill those obligations, right? There's a lot of people that, well, we're independent contractors, but there's like no independent contract, right? You know, and you know, that's, you know, eventually everybody, you know, eventually the tax person's coming down for everybody.
Yeah, that's how it rolls.
But so the sooner you can get that stuff squared away, the better for sure.
Yep. Yeah. But no, that's great. I wish I would have had something that I could have turned to for advice specifically in the tattoo industry, because there are so many things that are different. Like, for instance, like the gray area of, is it a good or a service, first of all, because you can't really hold a tattoo in your hand, but what does your state classify it as?
Right. Exactly. Yeah.
So then you get into the funny, like some states have sales tax on tattoos and some states don't. We're like, when you look at the definition of sales tax, like you can't tangibly hold a tattoo. It's a service. So should there be sales tax?
And it's definitely.
But in Ohio, we have to pay it. So it just is what it is. There's no arguing it. It just is what it is.
Sure.
But
you know, and you could try, like I said, I paid 15, or I don't even know how much money it was. It was well over 10. It was hopefully under 20, but it was all on water under the bridge. You can spend a lot of money, you know, trying to defend your shit in court. And it really breaks down to, like, you know, if you, like, the state knows what's supposed to happen, and they hang out in that courtroom all day long, right? So I always advise people to get audited now. Like, we could audit you. You could, you know, hire people or take some, you know, you know, you can either talk with somebody that kind of has gone through it before and take like a layman's test, or you could hire somebody to audit you. Generally, it would be like your, you know, your accountant or whatever, but you can get those tests beforehand. So that you can know whether you'll survive it or not. And, you know, but that does require spending money with like accountants and lawyers. And who the fuck wants to do that when you don't have to? But I would say you should do it, because if you know, and again, to your point, like if you're going to end up attracting a lot of attention, then inherently you're going to end up attracting a lot of attention. So you have to have your shit tight. If the whole goal is to like run kind of, you know, super free and clear and under the radar and whatnot, you can do that too and never worry about it. But you can't do both. You can't like be ambiguous and attract a lot of attention, or something.
Yeah, something along those lines.
The point is, it's going to be an awesome panel, and the fact that people have all these questions. I guess also the last thing I might add to that is, you know, we do have a Reinventing the Tattoo business course through Reinventing, and it's got like a whole bunch of webinars about all the businessy stuff, but it also includes a once a month Zoom call where we talk about business stuff and people have questions. I think last time we talked about like newsletter, timing of newsletters and whatnot. And, do you send them out once a month, once a week? If there's special events, like how much is too much, how much is too little? And then I think we also, we talked about a bunch of things. Anyways, point is, there are now actual resources where not only you can talk to like people that own other tattoo shops and see what their issues are and brainstorm ideas. It's pretty crazy.
Pretty magic how the tattoo community is. Like we call it the community willy-nilly, but like it really is a community. Like once you've been in it long enough and you've kind of earned your stripes and you start to learn how things work, like it really is a community. Like there are exceptions to this, but for the most part, we're all here to share knowledge with one another. We're all here to like better tattooing. We're all here to like keep the community tight. Yeah. And then like on top of that, we kind of started touching on this earlier. On top of that, like there's this whole community with the collectors as well. Like there's the tattoo industry community, but like outside of that, the tattoo community is just so much more like encompassing, and I just love it. I just love being a part of it, both as a tattooer and a collector. And I love like simply having a platform just to talk about like the things that I love.
Yeah. Hey, let me, speaking of just tattoos, let me, I've got another artist here. It has nothing to do with the BYOB. So this isn't just an ad, but I've been working with a bunch of Korean tattooers, and they're awesome. They're fucking great. I'm trying to figure out how to open all this stuff up here. Oh, this is not what I wanted it to do. This is funny. Oh shit, my whole computer's going crazy.
It's okay. You're not screen sharing. It's cool. You're still solid.
Yeah. Let me quit out of, I'm opening it all up at QuickTime is what I'm doing by accident. Quit. It's still technically, well, I guess it's not illegal, but it's not legal to tattoo in Korea unless you're a doctor.
Oh.
And so it's pretty crazy that they figured out how to get this good. Again, when it's still kind of underground.
I bet that makes it more fun.
Yeah, but it definitely is always one of those. It's like, I bet it's like one of those. Well, they would probably prefer to everything be kind of cool and kosher and out in the open, right? Because they don't want to get fined and all that. There's definitely a fair amount to be said, like with the freedom that you kind of have. If you're an outlaw already, right? So here we go. Check this out. I wish I need to see the. I need to see the names because otherwise, I can't pronounce any of the names anyways. Sorry to say, because they're all Korean. But so you're going to check out the work in they're all on tattoo now. If people want to check out more of them, but here the stuff's nuts. Boom. Obviously, it's all in the realism, micro realism game. But that skin is pretty fucking white already, right? So. Part of it's, and they also do kind of talk about how some of these finer things will probably come out over time, but it feels like there's enough structure through it all that it's
or like if some of those details soften, it'll only look better.
To your point, earlier, this one here got a great response out of the Instagrams.
I bet.
Yeah. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, that's pretty stinking fantastic.
I was really, look at that. Boom. Yeah. Again, part of it is some of it's like, wow, it's wicked fine, but like a lot of that skin too is it's crazy, huh?
Sometimes the magic of a good tattoo or a good tattooer is knowing what not to tattoo.
Right. Yeah.
Sometimes there's just magic and just let the skin breathe here. Even when I'm doing full saturation pieces, sometimes it's appropriate to like just leave a little touch of skin around something, or incorporate just a little bit of that skin color, but there's something so magic about like incorporating the negative untattooed skin. I think it's just as important.
This piece is another one. These they're you can find more about a lot of these at I think 10,000 Foxes. They're some of the tattoo shops in New York and LA, and a lot of these artists are kind of coming through there. So, oh, good Dolly. Anyways, I you know,
Wow.
to the point of like, just like as soon as I feel like I'm like, I got a pretty good beat on you know, a fair amount of awesome tattooers, then all of a sudden there's a whole nother round of people to check out.
Mm-hmm.
Here's another one, Inub. Yeah.
Look at those roses. What?
Mm.
Yeah. Hoping to. I think we might be doing a virtual Korean conference.
I love how they handled those little drips down at the bottom of that one. They look like a mirror finish. That's fantastic.
Yeah.
See them right there by the cursor. Oh, it looks like chrome.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Fantastic.
And yeah. And then some of the characters, and it's just like a blackworky kind of stuff, these artists. But so they'll all be getting their visas and hitting up the States pretty soon.
Nice. Nice. Oh,
okay.
I can't wait to travel. I can't wait.
Yeah, it's been a while.
Well, and it'll be 2 or 3 days, right? Get to take the. You said you were going to start the drive on the morning. It's like a 12 or 10 hour-ish.
I think it's like 9 from here.
Yeah.
So I'll have to head an hour north. Like I said, I'm bringing my mom with me. So
awesome.
I actually think she's going to make a pretty good assistant / travel companion. Yeah, I think she's going to be really helpful. Like, she's not bad with photo equipment and things like that. So this isn't too far out of her wheelhouse.
I could only hope that my daughter is bringing me to tattoo conventions or whatever conventions she's going to at some point. I have a relatively hard, tough, cold heart that, I got most of the emotion beat out of me when I was a kid, and emotionally beat out of me when I was a kid, a little beat out of me as a kid. But dropping my daughter off at college, man, I was like,
did you leak? Were you leaking?
I was pretty much crying. Yeah,
you were leaking.
My heart was cracking. It was like, I can't fucking believe it's already to this phase. And I was walking by the mountain earlier, and I was like, oh, there's the fields of cows that my daughter used to sneak off to go hang out with.
Oh,
and she won't ever again. I mean, she would. Now we're the holiday,
right?
Yeah.
She comes home for us for the holiday. That shit happens quick. I think I heard something about a 12-year-old earlier, and everyone keeps saying it, and I'll keep saying it, but blink, blink, fucking, it's gone. Slow those brakes down and enjoy every moment of trying to just correct the crazy behavior, because eventually you're just hoping that, who knows, yeah. But I would say, like I said, she got her first tattoo from Thea, first professional tattoo from Thea, and it's fun to see the effect of that. She hasn't talked about it tons, but she's like, yeah, people really dig the tattoo. And as a freshman in high school with, like I said, a quality tattoo, it's definitely fun to think about the effect that it has just on people. So.
Yeah.
I'm so thankful I didn't get any janky tattoos from anybody, like any of my homies when I was in high school. I'm glad I didn't decide I was smart enough to make my own tattoo machine and tattoo myself in high school. I'm thankful as an adult, as on my way to a bodysuit collector. I'm so thankful I was patient. And I mean, I did get my first tattoo when I was 18, but it wasn't like a rushed situation. It was but I'm glad I was patient.
Here's one of the things that we may or may not work on over the course of the 4 days, but I've always been interested and I would love to kind of help participate. But on the other hand, I'm not an artist too, so I can only do so much. But mapping out, like imagine if a collector had I don't know, say let's just even say like a dozen templates or whatever. In our wildest imagination, there's 24 templates that basically map out positive on negative spaces on the full bodysuit, and then incorporates a couple of spots where it's perfect for some text, for some entry-level tattoos, So So we could be like, you know what, this is the perfect spot to put some script or to put, something upside down, or to put, simple symbols out without mucking.
I feel like you're touching on the real estate talk,
right? Yeah, absolutely. Map out the
real estate.
Well, and mapping it out just in advance, right? And we can almost like I said, you can almost have like a couple dozen templates that show rough styles, so if somebody wants to get some black work in an Asian style, boom, here's a way to kind of have, that work in the context of the way your body works, as opposed to like collecting as we go and figuring it out. You could almost be like, oh, wait, I could see how I could get some of my black work and some of my scripts and some of my realism out without fucking up the flow.
Right.
And, the main reason why people don't start off with sleeves and bodysuits is they can't envision them, they can't see it. Like, so anything that we could do to help people see it. And then the other thing would be just having this tangible thumbnails. It could even be thumbnails. They don't have to be like fleshed out or anything, but like, to have a collector or have a first-time tattooer to be like, well, I don't know what I'm really going to get, but look, I could get this little fun, starter tattoo. And if this says here, if I put it in this spot, I'm not even making a regret, right? Like more people might start to collect in a way that is conducive.
One thing that I've started doing over the years is like when I've got one of those clients that like, I just want to get tattooed, and I'm like picking their brain, like, and they're not giving me anything to bite on. They're not giving me the meat that's making my imagination run wild. I'll be like, okay, close your eyes, and I'll make them actually like close their eyes and like relax. And it's cool how like once somebody actually like submits and just closes their eyes, they like take a deep breath and they're like, all right, what are we doing? And I'll be like, okay, so it's tomorrow morning and I've been working on you all day and I've just done the tattoo of your dreams, or I've started the tattoo of your dreams. And I'll be like, are you with me? And I'll make sure they're like taking the visual journey with me, because people just have a hard time imagining, you know what I mean? And it's a skill where like, if you don't use it, if you're not just imagining things out of the ether, it's not something 100%. That comes natural to everybody.
Yep.
So I'll be like, okay, so you're looking in the bathroom mirror, you just got out of the shower. I don't need to know the pertinent details of the other stuff, but so we're picturing your tattoo. What does it look like? And then that's where they'll be like, okay, so it's my left arm. It's like, all right, there's a start.
Yeah, like, cool.
Can you imagine it coming all the way to your wrist, or do you imagine it just coming to your elbow? And like, and just asking the questions while they've got their eyes closed, and like, and it's the first time they've ever even like tried to imagine this on themselves.
Let's while you're here, if you could make a note or to remember, if I remember, we should do like a 15-minute use your imagination exercise like that we could put on video and be like, not sure. I mean, obviously you're guiding them through you're guiding your clients through a custom exercise in imagination, but it almost feels like there could be one that's like there should be one that's a general how to visualize, how to use your imagination.
Well, there's a thing that we've got to keep in mind, and that is that the entire tattoo process is collaborative. Like even if it's one artist, because like even with your arm's really a perfect example of what are your ideas, and I'm going to run with them and I'm going to bring them to life. But it's such a combination of both of our imaginations.
Absolutely.
I can do a fantasy scape underwater scene on anybody, but what do you want your story to be? What is your definition of paradise? Luckily, she had a lot of really good like art references and stuff to show me, but sometimes people don't have that, and we've got to build it from scratch. And like sometimes, I do a lot of nature tattoos, but sometimes like the simple question of like, do you want like deciduous trees or like pine trees? To watch somebody be like, I didn't even think about that. And then I'll ask the question, where did you grow up? Like what part of the country did you grow up in? So we could
find the right thing.
And then
did you like it there?
That way my imagination lines up with whatever their imagination is.
Sure. Absolutely. So that part will obviously, that is part of the unique process of getting a tattoo from somebody. There might be two ways to help other people step into this, or dip their toe in it. One would be to, just to tackle a short video of like how to use your imagination. One of the things you said is a lot of people, and probably most people, don't have any idea really how to visualize or use your imagination. So we could kind of do like a little close your eyes, imagine this, now imagine that, now imagine this, now imagine that. And then the other, the follow-up to that would be just to run through it with somebody, so that because if a client was listening to you do this with somebody, you know, they would start to be able to figure out how to do it for themselves inside of their imagination. I don't know. I think that helping people use their imagination could be an amazing video.
Well,
And,
not everybody's a daydreamer. So to like look somebody in the face and be like, well, just like, what do you imagine? What do you daydream? What do you like?
Hearing anything? Or,
But for some people, it's not, you know, they're not playing in that daydream realm all day. Like, I don't know if it's something that like people lose touch with as they get older. I don't know if it's something that like just some people are just
beats it out of us.
You think?
To a
Maybe.
degree. I mean,
maybe.
You know, I mean, certainly the culture at large isn't necessarily pushing anybody towards creativity or creative thinking or, you know, or whatnot. But, you know, obviously, in the tattoo world, ended up being a whole bunch of people that couldn't do anything other than, you know, dream about stuff. Right. And I mean, I'm certain, you know, there's no question, right, that, you know, they don't teach creative, you know, thinking skills and imagination building in high school. You know?
Well, let's tweak that thought just a little bit. Let's tweak it to problem solving. Cause like a lot of times I'll consider
100%.
myself a visual problem solver. You give me the recipe, you give me the ingredients, and I can come up with the way to put it together and make it work. Where to me, that's just like problem solving. This is what you want. Let me figure out a way to make that all work together. Where
100%.
maybe sometimes people just don't have that like problem solving like that. Like, okay, if this is the problem, how do I deduce what caused the problem? And then how do I fix the problem? Like sometimes there's that like backwards think to go forward, and not everybody has that, you know, and sometimes like for cover-ups and like tattoo fix-ups and things like that, like you've kind of got to have that sense of like, where did this derail and can I rescue it? Can I put this back on the track? Sometimes you can. Like if you know the intention, what the original goal was, sometimes you can put it back on the track. Other times, nope.
So hey, I do need to hit the restroom.
You know, we've been going for a couple hours already. We don't have to go all the way till 3. We can totally wrap up. I think this has been an excellent show. We got to cover a lot of stuff about the BYOB event coming up.
Yeah.
Awesome.
And anybody that's listening today or listens over the next few days, like stay tuned in. I'll probably be live on as many platforms as I can.
Cool.
I'll probably be at least on the tattoo collecting Instagram. But I'm going to be
we'll
super accessible all weekend. So,
and if you're watching this far into the future, the virtual BYOB will be available until I guess the internet or humanity goes away, whichever one goes away first. But so
we're going to have so many good conversations this weekend. I can't wait.
It'll be a lot of fun.
We're going to talk to so many weirdos.
The week start.
Yes, I keep saying weekend. Laura, thanks for joining us again.
Thank you.
I love it every time you come on. I love everything you have to share all the time. So
awesome.